But hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 300. I know you've been waiting for this for a long, long time, which is to say about a week, just like the last time. But it's Tuesday night, and that means it's time for another What's on Joe Mind TeamStream. We are here with our very special guest, former Hasbro Vice President Derryl DePriest, down in the bottom corner.
Hey, everybody.
Stick with us.
No, not a special guest.
We'll be back after you listen to our kick-ass theme song.
All right.
Kid, I love that one with the guy with the hair pick. Oh my God.
I feel a little overdressed.
Oh, I love him so much. I had to keep it in there. Because, you know, bowling, of course, a perfect game is 300 in bowling. So it had to be recognized in our opening sequence today.
I kind of thought our first bowler would be Pete Weber, but fine.
That was actually where I wanted to go first. Was the immortal Pete Weber, you know, what's my name? How do you like that taunt? But I found that guy, and I could not deny him.
And I don't think that was a perfect game.
Tell me that ginger afro did not push all your buttons, Mark Weber.
Come on now. If I could
right?
only, right?
Ultimately that was the tiebreaker.
At some point, I am just going to grow it out and move it around.
Right. I mean,
it'd be my only choice.
And Mark's super Globetrotter cosplay.
Right.
I will buy you a fine hair pick to go with that, Mark Weber.
Right. Anybody need a surfboard? Brrr.
Just beautiful. But anyways, he's here in the top row. He is flaunting his fine ginger locks as we speak. He's the former head of marketing for the G.I. Joe brand at Hasbro. It's the hot show, Mark Weber.
What's left of my fine ginger locks? I got to start saving them as they fall out. Maybe I'll glue them back on.
Well, you know, I mean, hey, it's still there. You've hit the big 5-0, Mark.
Yeah, I know.
And it's still in the building. So that's better than a lot of guys out there doing.
Yeah. My dad was bald at 26. So I think with the genetic hand I was given, I'm fighting the good fight.
Right. Like you've doubled him up.
Well, it doesn't help to hang out next to you guys. Come on.
Oh, and speaking of which, he is freshly shorn. We will get the sweater from his leavings later in the month. But sporting his new haircut, it's rack time, Rob.
Yeah, for me to lose hair, I had to have a cut.
It did take a team of farm workers with shears to get that done.
Yeah.
I assume a weed whacker was involved.
Yeah, there was a John Deere guy turning around up there
and we are clothing an entire Scottish family next winter with the sweaters that it makes.
There we go. It's good to give back.
Right, those big ones with the big necks, you know. Yeah. It was no small amount of hair that left his head. And then of course, bottom right, he is I guess this kind of makes him Honcho squared. But he's Mark's former boss at Hasbro. And let me get it pulled up here. Former vice president of global brand management at Hasbro. Derryl DePriest is in the building, everybody.
No applause. It's good to be here. Good to be here, everybody.
It's been a long time coming. We've wanted to have you on for a long time, Derryl. But of course, we used to record on Fridays. And what was the reason that you gave us for not coming on the show on Fridays?
I play Magic the Gathering every Friday. It's Friday Night Magic. So there you go. Sorry, guys. That takes priority.
Right.
Hey, Philip.
We would like to think our show was a little Friday Night Magic too. But
Yeah. It's although it is tough. I got to tell you, here in Chattanooga, when I first moved here, there was a crew that I play a particular Magic format called Limited, which consists of sealed pre-release sets and then draft. So if you get enough guys together or ladies, every Friday you can draft. You sit around a table, you open packs, you build your deck one card at a time. You take a card out of a pack and pass it around. It's my favorite format. I've played it for decades. I play Magic once to twice a week if I'm lucky. But the past year, it's really been tough to get people to show up for draft for whatever reason. So I'm more available on Friday nights because I usually go to the store and then head home. There aren't enough people, but it's too bad. But anyway, hey.
Do you need us to head down that way and rough some people
I
up?
would I would love it. Oh no, I thought you were going to offer to play. So
I look, it wouldn't really be playing. I've never played Magic the Gathering before. I know from my time spent working in a comic book store, I wouldn't be any good at it.
Yeah, let's not do it.
So it would not be much of a challenge for you. But if it means, keeping the rowdier players or the non-attentive players in line, well, I'm good at that. I had to do that at the comic store.
That's all right. I just need more players to show up.
Let's go rustle up.
I tried to play Magic with two of my buddies back in Phoenix, and it's nothing against the game. I think they're just terrible players. So we would do that. We would crack packs and pass it around, and it was great. And then they'd get into just abysmally stupid arguments that had nothing to do with the rules, where they go, well, I moved my Pegasus 2 places. And they go, you can't move over the swamp. It restricts all movement. And they go, not for a Pegasus, because it's a swamp. And I'm like, I don't think that's how the game works, guys. But it would always take this, well, it's a water elemental. You're a fire guy, can't hurt it. I'm like, I don't think that's in the rules. I think you're making it up. And then eventually I kind of got disinvited from Magic.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, Craig Cohan, you've got some cards, man.
Craig Cohan has Magic cards dating back to Alpha.
That's some sweet stuff right there. That's the beginning.
I don't know what that means.
I mean, it was very
Black Lotus, baby. That's
it's the Amazing Fantasy 15 or the Action Comics 1. That's what Alpha is. So
there you go. Speaking
Good
Ragtime
stuff.
Rob's language.
Yeah. Of course.
Sean Russell notes that Derryl might have been Mark's boss, but Mark is the head guy. Look at the size of that thing.
I mean, no.
People at Hasbro always said I had a big head, but you can take that either way.
I mean, it wasn't an ego thing, Mark. They were just speaking, physically.
It could have been a little of both. Who knows?
Look, man, I'm in the same boat. I just sit further away from my screen,
Right?
so
We
keep up the grand illusion is all.
This is where the light is, right?
But between skull and hair, this is a 7 7/8 dome with a 6-foot body.
Mark embraces his role, and he's chosen to own that, along with several other things. So
the M in MODOK stands for Mark. I think we all know that. So.
Right.
And when Mike and I defend our world tag team titles, it's the double headbutt that will put you down for the count. Gary.
Right. And then stagger the burliest of men.
That's it.
Anyways, if you're new to the channel, you're watching us on Facebook tonight, go ahead, leave us some kind of a reaction. Leave us a thumbs up, give us a heart, give us a little huggy guy. We do love little huggy guy. But just anything to show the world that you're out there, because interaction is what drives the almighty algorithm. And of course, if you're on Facebook, or rather if you're on YouTube, go ahead, go down to the bottom corners there, hit like, the thumbs up in that corner, hit the subscribe button in that corner, do all those cool YouTube things. Leave us a big boy comment when we're done down below. Be sure to spread us around your various social media circles, be that Facebook groups or subreddits or Discord servers, whatever. I mean, we don't care. Just share. Feel free to share the video wherever you share your videos and talk about G.I. Joe and the like. And in our case, usually at half an hour worth of pro wrestling, if we're lucky.
Later.
Before the show, Derryl was complaining to us that it usually takes us 20 minutes to get to an actual discussion point.
But we're going to cut that in half.
Yeah,
Right.
let's cut that in half today and get right to
We're
it.
halfway there. 10 minutes. 10
And
minutes.
And then it's the
conversation,
ear
everyone.
splitting community calendar. So
Here
I
we
mean,
go.
that is always up first. It is time for community calendar.
all right.
Darryl, you're usually an audio listener, so you've never seen.
I have never seen YouTube. I usually listen to the podcast either on my walk or in the car. So this is totally new to me. I got to say, I may just turn off the camera on you guys a little bit and just let the chat go. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just
That's
look.
fine.
You might want to get a piece of paper and poke a pinhole in it and watch through that.
Don't look right at it.
Right. Because these you said ear splitting community calendar intros. Well, there's video with those. So,
Okay. Oh, this will be the first time. Let's
right. It makes a little
see
bit
it.
more sense when you can see what's going on.
You're
Well-
overselling it. It doesn't make a lot more sense. Just a little bit.
I'm afraid,
Know where
Phil.
the noise is coming from. It still
Right.
won't make sense.
Right. Yeah.
Those-
I mean,
Phil's warning me. Let's just peel the Band-Aid off and do it.
Yeah.
and when we close community calendar, we are actually going to debut a new outro to
Lord.
move the plot along. So it's a special night. It's episode 300, and Derryl is here, and so we're pulling out all the stops. Community calendar. Community calendar.
I mean,
See,
That's
just staff sergeant.
incredible. It's incredibly professionally produced. I will say that. I'm
Right.
I'm blown away.
Our fan AbsorbVids puts those together. I don't ask him to. I don't provide any sort of direction. He just does these things and sends them to me, and I put them on the air. That's how this works.
I
That's
love
how
it.
community works.
It reminds me of let's see, what was who was Strong Bad from? What was the show? Homestar Runner. It reminds me a little bit of Homestar Runner. It's got that kind of cute little anthropomorphic thing going on.
Right. Well, that is Staff Sergeant Seanugs. That is our original character, and that is here in season 2 of Community Calendar Intros. Deke has been subletted to provide the animation, so that's the Deke version of Staff Sergeant Seanugs.
He looks kind of like a pop vinyl, though.
Right.
Yep.
Nice to
Right.
see that AbsorbVids knows what color Beachhead's gun should be, because some
Right.
people are confused about that.
So some folks are a little
Yeah.
spotty on that.
If only there was reference.
Well, there was reference, but somebody kept buying it all up.
Right. Hey, Mike, you got 125 Beachhead guns I can take a look at?
I will. I have more than 125. So yeah. We'll get to that later in the show. Anyways, first up, March 30th, Inside Pitch Promotions having one of their shows. That is at the Metro Convention Center in Hickory. That is going from 9 to 4. $5 gets you in the door. Kids 12 and under are free. Free parking at all Inside Pitch Promotion shows. You can get further information at insidepitchpromo.com. Derryl, have you ever picked up a kid 12 and under at one of these shows?
I'm not even going to touch that.
Come on.
I mean, they're free. Yeah.
That's
They're
your
free.
first question for Derryl?
So is this what is at this show? I assume it's sports cards. Or,
It is partially sports cards, but it also bills as toys, comics, and collectible card games. So
Very
they
good.
do a little bit of everything with Inside Pitch. A couple of weeks ago, we had a gentleman write to us who had gone to one of these Inside Pitch shows, and he had a pretty sweet Joe Haul. So I'm going to guess that they do pretty good with toys there.
Nice, good. I'll be in South Carolina that weekend, but I don't think my wife will let me head up to that one.
Come on now, it's just Hickory. It's right there. It's in Carolina. Those are
They're connected.
small states,
Share a border.
right? If you're traveling north and south, they're not bad, right?
Depends
right.
on where in the Carolinas.
Surveillance
you're
Board
talking
says
about.
he waits for his 12-year-olds at Ross. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
You get them cheaper than free.
I'm right.
I don't know if I want a kid that they're going to pay me to take.
That's a good point.
That's normally a bad sign.
Good point.
Or a tax scam, but either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pick them up for tax season and then write them off.
Right. Bart asks, when do we get to see Derryl's pit? Let's see the toy collection. Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Get right to it, Bart. But that's a whole other video.
Yeah, I'm down in the office today. I'm not up in the. I do have a display room, but it's not very pleasant to look at right now. It's covered with empty boxes that I saved for eBay and whatnot. So,
right, it's
you get
like
this. Then I have an archive room that's not nice to look at either because that's all fishing tackle boxes, inside flip-top totes, inside larger plastic totes. It's just all totes.
You know, that was a joke, but now I really do want to go to Derryl's house with a camera.
You can come on down.
Now I do want to see this.
Come on down.
Come for the magic, stay for the moon pies.
Zabot CGC asks, is free parking really free? As far as we know, man. So Michael Gene Fleming did report no cost on parking when he went to the other Inside Pitch show. So what can I tell you? It's right there. But also coming up this coming weekend, it's the Columbus Toy Show.
Yeah,
it's one of the big boys right there.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have that other one before it because that's on the 30th and this one's on the 17th. But
temporal anomaly there.
Sure, we'll go with that. Celebrate your St. Patty's Day with the cast of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Nice.
At the Columbus Toy Show. That is at the Ohio Expo Center Lounge building in Columbus, Ohio. You can also check them out online. Facebook is probably the better place to get information. But again, it's one of the big ones. $15 gets you in the door. $20 gets you in early. That's an extra hour of shopping. One of the biggest toy shows in the state of Ohio. And Ohio is one of those states that nobody has any reason to think of Ohio, right? No. But I tell you, all that Kenner stuff's floating around somewhere, and it's mostly in state of Ohio. So
no, it's all in Derryl's display room, I think.
Oh, I don't think
provided
so.
it can work around the Cobra Bug Squadron.
Right.
That's right. Love the bugs.
They're fantastic. I have one, and I treasure it.
Oh, it's amazing.
One of my favorite Derryl memories is him running back to the Hasbro booth with a really nice bug at one of the Joe-Cons. And he's like, look at this. It's screaming deal. It's almost complete. I'm like, Derryl, you have to have 5 of those. He's like, yeah, but look at it. It's fantastic. I'm going to put it in the what are you going to do with that? He said, I'll just put it in the display case. And I said, everybody will ask us about that. You guys working on a bug? No.
That's right. That's right.
I tried to hide it for a while, and then that didn't work. So I just put it
as I recall, Mark, we may not have had a lot of other things to talk about. So I actually buying some stuff and putting it in a case.
We had
got people talking.
We had a couple of empty shelves, as I recall.
That's right. But
yeah, I tried to obscure it with a sign, and then people thought it was like a rib or a gag. And I'm like, fine, take a look at the bug. Let me tell you about how we're not making it.
Yeah.
What kind of item count would you have had on the bug, Mark?
Oh, geez. I mean, we would normally get like 4. And then midway through the year, they'd go, hey, Nerf is going to take 1 of yours. We're like, really? They're not going to take 1 from Transformers that has 220. They're going to take 1 from Joe. Come on now.
Right. That's how it goes, man.
Yeah. We're making 3 new figures and a new tool bug. That's how we're spending our money. That's exactly what's going on.
Hey.
I think
we got some things through.
Absolutely. No, I always say I like what we cooked. We just didn't have many groceries.
It was a lot of very fancy ramen noodles.
That's it, man.
Very few groceries.
By the way, are they ever going to get David J. Fielding out of that lava lamp?
No.
Jesus.
Nobody knows
who he is. He's a head in a jar at this point.
Man.
Nobody knows who he is outside of the lava lamp.
Yeah.
He's just another guy in a Southwestern print shirt. I think. He's kind of small on my screen, so I can't tell. But also, hey, coming up April 12th to the 14th, Steel City happening.
Yeah.
Monroeville Convention Center in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, outside the Steel City, outside of Mr. Pittsburgh, Matt Rubin's haunting grounds. Tickets and information available at steelcitycon.com. Guests include Kristen Cage, John Carpenter, Gina Davis, Heather Graham, Ernie Hudson, John Rhys Davies, Susan Sarandon, 5-time champion Booker T, and pretty much the entire surviving cast of Beverly Hills 90210 and The Breakfast Club. So if you're a fan of one of those properties, it will make you very happy.
Russell Wilson, perhaps?
Bart will be there. See him for a free hug.
Ooh.
Percent off the door. I believe there's a code for that at steelcitycon.com.
Russell Wilson's not getting paid enough to show up there, Mark.
What? He's only, it was a steal. 1 million. Come on.
1.2.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Russell Wilson, you probably don't even notice the 0.2.
I mean, the Broncos management, who's paying him an exorbitant sub this season, they probably don't care if he's at Steel City
To play for the Steelers.
38 million not to play there.
Yeah.
I need his agent. Come on. Now.
Right. Maybe he will be. Maybe he'll be there as a fan. You never know.
Never know.
He'll be in the neighborhood.
Could be.
He's known to be one of those quiet, bookish types that don't relish attention. Oh wait, no,
Right.
no, my bad. My notes are incorrect on that.
Yeah. I think that's
He'll be
wrong.
over there having a diva off with Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. Should be good.
Oh goodness, we don't veer off into NFL material very often. We do baseball a lot. We don't do a lot of football,
Especially not in the off season. Yeah.
Off seasons is one of the most interesting times
It's always football season.
because everybody's optimistic during this part of the year. Everybody's 0-0 and has the potential to win the championship. Very exciting.
right?
Except the
We're
Panthers.
Giants fans. We know we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Our season's over.
Giants.
That's just how it goes. They've actually, the Saquon Barkley thing notwithstanding, they've actually spent some smart money this week. But it's a tough thing to watch.
You got the only guy with a beating heart out of Carolina. That's pretty good. He's
Right,
gotta be motivated,
For a
Right.
ham sandwich.
right?
Right. Jake Rose notes that the Raiders are still statistically eliminated.
That's
No, no,
awesome. That's awesome.
They just signed Uncle Rico. They're going to be great.
Right, man. They got the Thrillbilly.
Mhm.
Oh
They
man.
got I mean that right there, that's at least one win, right?
He led the league in total mustache last year. That's
That
not
is
nothing.
correct, man. Gardner Minshew. Look, speaking we lived in the town where Gardner Minshew plied his trade last season. He's really not that bad.
Mhm.
He's not like one of your elite difference maker types, but they could have done a lot worse
Yeah.
with their 2 years and $20 million than Gardner Minshew,
Very serviceable backup.
right? Or
Borderline starter.
fringe starter. Yes,
Yep.
that was always my favorite term, fringe starter.
Didn't Trubisky get like 12 million from the Bills to suck for the 6th straight year? I mean, come on.
Yeah, but he got 12 million for like 3 years.
Yeah,
So
that wasn't per year.
that's
He's been-
backup money.
But
That's
he's
bad. Yeah. Backup money is like 3 to 6.
He's the
Something.
most. I think he's the most consistent quarterback in the NFL. Every year, just god awful.
Hey, you.
Maybe.
I mean, isn't backup quarterback the dream job?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a smart guy. I know football, but I also don't want to get hit. So backup quarterbacks, that's what I should have been, right?
Yeah.
Good.
That's what I should have gone for.
Probably not anymore. They're getting in an awful lot of games.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true.
All
That's
right.
true.
Steel City Con. What else?
Diana Davis asks, is that the city made of steel or the convention? Both, probably.
Mm.
I mean, the convention is in the city, which is made of steel. And that's it. Short community calendar this week. Not a
There you
whole
go.
All right. All right.
Here we
folks
go.
folks aren't sending us a whole lot for community calendar. So
Well-
remember, you have. Go ahead, Derryl.
I was going to say you pretty much want to have a short time period on those because there are a lot of great shows coming up later in the year. I'm going to be at the Dallas Fort Worth Joe Show, not Joe Fest this year. So I think it takes place the same time as Joe Fest. So in June.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one. I've never been to that show. I'll be out there, and then I'm thinking of going out to California for the Burbank G.I. Joe show.
The SoCal with the four Joe men.
Yeah, with the Joe Bros and formerly I think the D Simone show. So
Right.
that'll be fun too. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up.
That is one that I've got circled as something I'd like to do too.
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm going to pull it off. It's a ways to go, and it's a lot of money to put together.
Yeah,
But that is one that at some point I would like to get out to one of those shows just to see it.
It's just
I know
right
I
up. It's right up the 405, Mike.
Right. I talked to our friend Phil Donnelly about it. He assures me that I'm not missing that much, but I was like, it doesn't matter, Phil. It's about traveling. It's about doing the road game, man.
it is,
done.
and that's one thing I've enjoyed doing the last probably couple years is really hitting the road and doing these shows. So I go to Atlanta twice a year for Jolanta, Toylanta. I go to the Louisville toy show twice a year. Kentuckiana, no jokes, guys. It's an incredible show. Saw Mike there last time.
It was fantastic. That was the best dealer room I had seen since the last JoeCon. No exaggeration.
It might even be better than what JoeCon was. Steve Stovall's put together a great show. Joe Fest is an amazing show too, packed with tons of stuff. But I'm just enjoying getting on the road. I think, shows really have a vibe. And when I was at Hasbro, I never really had time to enjoy the shows to the degree I wanted. But I like setting up a table, selling my extra stuff, hunting for stuff. That's really what makes me tick. So talking to peeps.
There was time for you to go and buy a Cobra bug, but just one.
Just right.
So it was no good. You need to get out and get more.
Yeah.
If you've got something you want to
yeah,
right, if you want to get out and add something to community calendar, we actually do have some stuff in hold that come up later in the spring and then in the summer. It was just a little too early to get them on yet. But if you've got something coming up in your area, even if it's a small show, what's on joemind@gmail.com. That's the place you want to send it. That's really where you want to send any kind of correspondence for us. If you've got a question for the post sock, if you've got an event for community calendar, if you got customs you want to share to show off for Mark for Lazy Bastard Customs,
that's my jam.
Anything. What's on joemind@gmail.com. That's where you really want to get a hold of us. We're on all the other social media, but sometimes those, it's their business account. Sometimes the instant messaging and direct messaging is a little wonky on stuff like that. We're looking at you, Facebook. So the Gmail account is always the way to go. We've got all of our social media hookups down below. We've got a phone number down there too. If you want to just talk to us, you want your voice to be on air, leave us a message. We'll get it on there. We will do audio post sock. That's not a problem for us. We have the technology, damn it.
Yep. So Phil brings up a point. He says Burbank is the old DeSimone show, not the SoCal Joe show. So Phil, I think the SoCal Joe show had moved to Pasadena, I thought, and DeSimone was still running it. And he said he gave it over to the Joe Bros to run, and it's back in Burbank this year. So I may be confused on whose show it is, but I think that's the one to go to. We'll talk offline about it. So
whatever show it is, Derryl, Phil will be there to correct you.
Phil will be there, and I'll meet Phil at Disneyland the day before, and we'll head over to the show.
There you go.
Make him buy you lunch, man.
I will.
He's the king over there. They don't charge him for nothing.
You owe me lunch.
Yeah, just say it ain't real hard to meet Phil at Disneyland, right? Just show up someday, and there he is.
Right. You're more likely to find him there than if you went to his apartment.
Yep.
But
well, hey, congrats on the 300th show. That's amazing. You guys, that's incredible.
I mean, we didn't make a big deal out of it because it's the 300th regular episode, but if you actually add up all of the shows that we've done, like it's closer to 500.
Like with all the arena shows, that's another 200.
Right. Between the special editions and the JoeCon panels, right, and all the on the spot things that we've done when we've traveled through the years. I mean, it is about 500, and it's so 300 regular. Like it's fun, and I put together a special intro for it, but like it's not that big of a deal. I got more planned for the anniversary show. We'll see if I actually have time to pull it off.
Plus our news explosion videos that we do the second anything happens. Just puts us through the roof.
We must breathlessly analyze a leaked image
Right.
for over an hour.
Right.
or a listing at Target.
Yep. Farrah Fawcett. Who could that be? I think I know.
Right. Now, for the record, I'm not doubting that those are not newsworthy situations. It's just the overreaction to it all is what's funny. Like that stuff is worth a minute or two or an Instagram post. Like that's fine. That's what it should be. Just let people digest it on their own. But man, there's folks who get on and wow, it's just
Hey,
yeah.
good for them.
I don't understand the appeal. If that's your jam, that's your jam. But I'm not watching with you.
We're not fighting you for that.
Right.
Do that.
We're glad you're here with us now.
Mm-hmm.
We're a weekly news magazine.
There you go.
This is where the Ion Springfield theme should be playing. Well, 80s out. Anyways, that's community calendar.
Wait a minute.
S-Dog says you need a gun so that the others know who is boss.
I'm the last that separates them. Princess of design swerving.
Well, that was pretty stream of consciousness.
I mean,
that's Deke for you. That's what they do.
The worst woo I ever heard.
You leave the woos alone, man. Those perfect. It's a better woo that I could pull off.
Wings.
I can't find my buttons. Wait, there we go. Remember, community calendar brought to you by Roma Collectibles, the official vintage toy retailer, official traveling vintage toy retailer. What's on Joe Mind? I don't want to get Kokomo Toys mad at us. Remember to visit Roma Collectibles, the toy store, when you're in Dayton, Ohio, specifically Springfield. They're at 1030 Upper Valley Pike, closed Monday and Tuesday, so they can watch the show Tuesday night. You see, Wednesday through Saturday, 12 to 7, Sunday, 12 to 5. As you can see there, our proprietors are way too caffeinated, so make sure you give them plenty of space. Derryl, you ever seen Roma Collectibles?
I love them. I've picked up a lot of good Action Force stuff from Roma in particular. I think I got my my Robo Skull from them and a few other things.
Wrong Action Force.
Aaron has been doing the Palatoy stuff since before it came back into vogue. Like he is, we were talking about. I got to see him a couple of weeks ago. He was in Indiana for that show we had on the calendar there, Geek Meet Indy, and I told him I marveled at how ahead of the curve he was on that Palatoy stuff.
Oh yeah, he was way ahead. I wish I was buying more of it a long time before I actually kind of woke up to how cool that stuff was. Because now it's pretty much dried up. I think there's either it's he had a source in the UK who was getting him a lot of it from boot fairs or wherever
right.
Like every time I ask somebody where do you get it in the UK, they say from a boot fair, and I'm thinking, oh man, that's what a cool way to get stuff. People just drive their car up, open their trunk, and it's just vintage Action Man. Those were the days. Never seen anything like that here. But
it's the same like it is here. Like any time anymore that somebody sees vintage GI Joes, they blink and they get that Scrooge McDuck dollar sign in their eyeballs, and you hear the cash register go. And it doesn't matter if they've got nice ones or they've got junk. They think it's worth about $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So
pretty much.
It's that was really part of the fun of Kentucky, was that everybody understood what things were actually worth. You weren't finding, say, a vintage GI Joe Vamp at a flea market and seeing a price tag of $200 attached to it, as I have in recent times.
Yes.
I mean, if you're paying $200 for a Vamp, and I'm just talking a general release 1983, no shovel on the hood, green Vamp, and you're paying $200, I have a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And 150 beachheads.
Thereabouts.
Yes.
Price flexible, but high.
But high. Very high.
But high. It's rare to find a collection that large. So 500,000 probably gets it done. David Allen says, hello, what's on Joe Mind? And it's wonderful seeing Derryl. Well, there
David
you go.
Allen.
Thank you, David.
Hey, David and everybody.
But we are again here with former Hasbro VP Derryl DePriest tonight. We got lots of time coming up in the second hour for live question and answers. So hang on with us till then. We got to get through the news. Where's my news button? There it is. All right. First news item. We'll beat this dead horse one more time. A couple weeks ago, I moonlighted over at the Who Would Win podcast with hosts James Gavsey and Ray Stakanis as the celebrity judge for a fantasy bout between Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. It dropped a couple weeks ago. It is available now wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to listen, leave a review, tell them What's on Joe Mind sent you. Let's show them that the What's on Joe Mind listenership is one worth having in their corner, because actually it was a heck of a lot of fun. It's always fun to shout at our friend Ray Stakanis. Always fun. That's never a bad thing. We had him on our program. It was last year. Not last year. It would have been 2022 around Thanksgiving time. He's one of the hosts of Knowing Is Half the Podcast, friend of the program. And again, it's always fun to yell at Ray. It's a good time.
I like the concept that they invite you on and you get to be in charge. That's kind of cool.
It wasn't so much that I was in charge, but my word was law.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of it's a gray area there. Like I'm just kind of there. I had no power except in the realm of Wonder Woman versus Captain Marvel, in which case I am infallible.
That was it.
Infallible. Mark, have you listened yet?
I don't listen to anything. I better listen to you now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I would ask Rob, but I know he hasn't.
But I get points for honesty, at least. Come on.
I guess. Whatever. Be nice to get some support, damn it.
I didn't listen, but I left a review.
Oh, good. No, that's fine. That's good enough.
Oh, okay. You've got this internet thing figured out.
Yeah, I know what's up.
So long as it's 5 stars, you're okay.
No, I'm just like, I hate it. What is it?
So, Mike, I imagine it's like comic geek epic rap battles, and you're the MC,
Yes.
right? They're throwing down, and
that sums it up pretty well, Derryl.
Yeah, good, excellent. I'll definitely give it a listen.
There you go. Can't ask for more than that. Leave a review. Tell them I sent you. Throw your weight around. Make sure it includes the sentence, "Don't you know who I am?" I'm Derryl DePriest. Don't you know who I am?
No.
Next news item. Hey, look, it's a Kickstarter update.
Congrats.
The history of G.I. Joe number 21 is funded. Yay!
Yay!
Wait a minute. Did you say Kickstarter? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how it's done. Thank you very much. On the fly. We'll do it live.
We don't really have you on the show because of your toy cred, Mark, and we don't have you on the show. We don't have you on the show for your looks, but the fact that you're an old radio hack, that's why you're on the show.
I am Gary Payton. I'm just here to lob it up soft above the rim, and you do with what you like. Yeah.
Just here to dish.
That's it.
And I will be fat old Sean Kemp just throwing
That's
it
right.
down.
Right.
That's right.
Duncan Quick to sub out and go get some more cocaine.
Right.
Sean Kemp, your hero, boys.
Or in later years, cheeseburgers.
That too. I think he put it on the cheeseburger.
Well,
Maybe.
Multitasking. That wasn't salt on the fries.
It's like when they, on those commercials, they'd be mixing the ranch dressing mix into the ground meat. Yeah.
Right. But that is funded. Congratulations to Roger and Josh and everybody involved.
Hey, Roger
with
and Josh.
The history of G.I. Joe number 21.
Way to go, fellas.
Now, of course, the wait begins. And next week, we will start whining about where our books are.
Mm-hmm.
Next news item. It's another Kickstarter project.
A what?
That's right. Action Force Redo Master Plan. That is funding until March 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the continuation of the Action Force universe in comic books after Palitoy folded. Be sure to head over to Kickstarter, look up Action Force Redo, then pull this one right up for you. You can see there's old Buckethead pointing at us. I don't know how he gets that thing on his head, frankly.
No, that's why he's so mad, I think. Could you imagine trying to wear that thing?
Probably.
He's stuck.
It changed the flow of brain in his head to the point where he is
He's
he
pure
is
evil.
bent on world domination, and as Rob said, pure evil.
If they ever weld that thing off his head is that exact same shape, I think.
It's like in Tom and Jerry cartoons when Tom would run into a bucket,
Right?
Baron Ironblood, actually a Lego guy. Who knew? He's got the little knob on his head.
I bet Vader walks by and is like, sucks to be you. Because he had some breathing room, right? But, ooh.
Oh. Derek Holloman, we'll never get tired of Kickstart My Heart.
Well, we'll see.
Right. That sounds like a challenge, is what that sounds like.
It really does, doesn't it?
I wore you out on Careless Whisper in 42 minutes, so we'll see.
That's because you left it playing for 42 minutes. That's different.
My theme music.
That is
Every good
not
hero
the same.
would have some.
Anyways, next news item.
Do-do-do.
Soon. It hit me last night, but that vamp is coming to your mailbox this week if you're in on the first round of pre-orders.
According to the website, they shipped out today.
Right.
Which means Rob will have his Friday and Mike will have his next Friday.
I will have mine sometime in May.
2025.
Sometime in May, yes. Ordered at the same time, going to the same place. Somehow his always show up first.
I like to picture the Pulse Fulfillment Warehouse as the stuff coming in alphabetically and somebody grabbing the Mike Irizarry one first off the line, but letting Rob's go through.
Look, the way they keep cutting me off of the the Hasbro invite lists, stands to reason. Could be a guy.
Could be.
Could be. It's not it wouldn't be the weirdest thing. The
guy responsible for keeping you on the outs, Mike, sooner or later is getting laid off. So your long nightmare will end.
That's fine. Look, hey,
we will slip through the cracks.
If I ever get another year's worth of release to spoil outright, I'm taking it.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
There'll be no hesitation next time. Just throwing it out there, because apparently, if I was wrong on everything, my channel would have 20,000 subscribers.
We should try that.
Maybe that's it. I was right on everything.
Yeah,
we're stuck at 1,400. But if I was wrong on everything, 19,000.
So coming soon.
Right.
The bogus news from What's on Joe Mind.
Right. It's a half hour of me sitting there, and everybody who comes up in a statement in the live chat, I'm just calling them a dick directly.
Right.
And I'm just sitting here with the double deuce just flashing the whole way. That's the whole time.
It's a Lightfoot airtight 2-pack sponsored by the Savannah Bananas. Count on it.
Yeah. Oh no. It's a Larry Storch Forrest Tucker 2-pack.
Oh.
I mean, Savannah Bananas, maybe the giraffe pants leatherneck.
Ooh, I like where your head's at. Yeah, man.
Derryl, if you were going to put together a 2-pack sponsored by the Savannah Bananas, what would you put in there?
Oh, Joe characters or just anything?
Whatever. I mean, Joe characters, unless you come up with something as good as Larry Storch and Forrest Tucker.
I don't know, man.
You don't have to answer that.
Larry Storch and Forrest Tucker from Ghostbusters.
I mean, Rob jumped on the best answer. There's no getting over that.
I mean, it's got to be Sinestro and somebody, right?
I would brand it. Let's start with the branding. Startling lineup.
Ooh, that's good.
That would be.
That's good. I think starting lineup is available though.
No.
Sure.
Hasbro, I think, abandoned it last year, right?
Give
They
it
might
another
have.
3 months from a legal standpoint, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Hank Perry says, "Don't mock the bananas. They're my home." Look, we're not mocking the bananas.
love the
Oh,
we are
bananas are
totally hip to the bananas, but the bananas don't take a whole lot very seriously, and we're trying to play in that sandbox.
I believe the Rocket pitched for them recently, didn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah, when they did a game in Houston, and Roger Clemens came out for them.
It's
The
a
best bit.
fantastic story. The bananas.
Such a good idea. The best bit was Roy Oswalt pitched in that game too, and no one cared. Got all this Clemens stuff. Oswalt pitched too, but
Whatever.
meh.
Andrew Gauguin says Recondo and Cyclops.
Recondo and Cyclops. So I'm thinking, who are the Yellow Joes? Scoop.
Oh,
Scoop
yes,
is
you
Scoop.
should.
Scoop would be great, naturally yellow, and then
Lightfoot.
maybe
Yeah, Mark did give us Airtight and Lightfoot.
Lightfoot, Airtight.
Good.
Yeah, Airtight's pretty. Maybe it's Scoop and Sunday. You just go with the full banana
I do-
splits kind of thing.
I'm sorry, we don't make new characters.
It's out.
Sorry about that. I like the Cyclops idea though, with its external yellow underpants.
Right. I mean,
It's a
Yeah,
bold statement.
yeah.
You can never tell when he's scared.
Original
Well-
Wolverine and the Reverse Flash.
Oh, that's a win. Is the
Anyway.
Reverse Flash the slowest man on Earth?
you would think, but no.
Okay.
No, he is
That would
equally
be-
as fast.
The Turtle.
That would be the turtle. That's right.
That was the
Uh,
Silver Age Flash's first enemy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
High concept from what Showcase 104 or whatever it was.
Showcase number 4.
Number 4.
Number
yeah.
number four, right?
Come on, Daryl. That's one that even
No.
I know. Come on.
I know. It's reprinted back there, and I
Okay.
haven't. Yeah, I should know this.
I have the Turtle's second appearance because it didn't happen again until 1978.
Oh, nice.
It took him 22 years to bring back the Turtle.
Yeah, Daryl.
Wasn't so bad.
We're not holding you accountable for having an out pull ragtime Rob on first appearances. That's not possible.
No, it's not
So-
possible.
It is not possible. But you got to be able to outpull me.
Rob's been training for this all his life.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the trivia contest that no one organized and no one ever will.
Yep.
He's good.
In high school, other kids were doing the long jump. Racktime Rob was doing the long box.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
he was in his room reading and rereading the DC Who's Who series.
Getting ready for this day.
Right.
Dun,
And when he would
dun,
put those
dun, dun,
down, he would pick up the Marvel Universe guide. So
yeah.
just to make sure that everything gets, all the bases get covered.
You were a double universe guy,
Oh, yeah.
Rob? I could only do DC, and then when the independent wave came in the late 80s, I embraced that, but I couldn't get behind two universes at once. I think my head would explode. But yours didn't. Congratulations.
I just shoved it out for other use. I just took other useful information, threw that out, and made room.
Like how to change the oil in your car, how to change
Yeah.
the tire.
Yep.
Andrew
Me and
Gauguin
Boyd
has
speak good.
Gauguin has a serious question. You think the Vamp will become available on Hasbro Pulse? Good question.
Didn't a limited number of the Sky Strikers became available, correct? But they sold out in like a minute.
Right. But that was HasLab surplus. Mark's getting invaded.
Oh no, he turned my light red.
Right. Oh, so I may have missed this. The Vamp was not a HasLab. It's just regular product.
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't pre-order this one, so it's just
um,
regular. So it should be available.
I would think it hasn't been.
It's been sold out for a couple weeks, but it was available on the website for a while.
Yeah. So maybe.
I'm sure.
It
Once
may
they
come
get
back.
more, stock in, yeah, they're fulfilling orders now. So
But Mark Gerwig asks, "What did I miss?" You know what that means.
Uh-oh.
It's-
Crap.
It's time to go back and start over from the top. to go back and watch that from the beginning. But I did an opening sequence with 300 stuff, and you missed it. So that's what you get, guest from last week. That's what you get.
Philip Donnelly.
He was busy making a 3-seater shark.
Right.
Philip Donnelly with the yellow win over in the comments. Come
Right.
on.
Secto Viper.
Yeah,
Believe it.
Secto.
Secto Viper and the Bumblebee Alley Viper.
Right. So good.
Oh, so good.
Well, that's who they got to fight somebody. So
Banana Force and Banana Patrol would be like,
Secto Viper fights everybody trying to find his lost helmet.
right. You know, that's the one thing missing from my bug is not actually the helmet. I've got the helmet. I'm missing his pistol.
That's a hard one too.
That is a piece that will cost at some point $400, or when the economy collapses, 3 pounds of bacon.
That's fair.
But I'm just holding out for that economy collapse to help me out there.
Well, let's hope it works out for you.
In the post APOC world, people are trading bacon for Joes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Look,
We'll be
broken down.
we'll be rich people if there's an economy.
Right.
People who want to trade up bacon for Joes.
Welcome to the bourgeois right here, man.
Right.
Don't let those Morlocks too close to us.
King of the apocalypse.
Now it's
Right.
Rob's time to shine.
Yep.
Bart asks, is the Banana Force's headquarters called the Hammock? Yes, it is.
It is now. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's good.
Next news item.
Do.
Hey, remember Walmart CollectorCon's coming up this on the 14th and 15th. So that would be Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday.
Yes.
And of course, images were leaked, or images of one thing were leaked. Might be all we get for G.I. Joe. We'll find out on the 14th. But here it is. This is what broke.
That fella.
I believe it was happening while we were on the air last week.
Mhm.
But it's this gentleman. There was some early confusion as to who this was exactly, if it was Shockwave or if it was a steel core. It turns out it is Shockwave on his night motorcycle. And he's got his little happy drone that I am nicknaming Buzz.
Droney.
Why not? Ooh, Droney. I was going for more onomatopoeia, but Droney is lazier and is therefore funnier. And you can see him there all outfitted out and in his kind of drab packaging. But here it is. Here's all the pieces you get. It is very clearly Shockwave. Night Force Shockwave and his Night Ram. I think it's actually called the Night Recon Cycle or something like that. Price and release date are to be announced. We will find out more later this week at CollectorCon online, March 14th and 15th, Walmart.com. That's right. Mark Weber, what do you think?
I mean, he's the most popular of the Night Force guys, right? Although for me, and I love Night Force, but I like the guys that they made a little more realistic, right? I liked it when they made Psych Out more palatable. I liked it when they made Crazy Legs a little more reasonable. But Night Force Shockwave is got to be one of the most sought after figures in the whole Joe universe from the 3 3/4 days, because he was just badass. He's already a cool figure, and they made him better. So I like this. This is full of win. If this spot was just for a repaint, this is about as good as you can do. I think this is pretty good right here. Although on the previous picture, I don't like how it looks like he's charging into battle with the kickstand down.
Well,
That's a problem. But
maybe he's stopped the cycle so he can actually fire the Gatling gun without spinning off uncontrollably.
but I like the Night Force donut. I think that's pretty cool. It's a signature move. But I like this. Even though he doesn't really have a tie to the Ram historically, that's okay. There's a lot to like here. And I always thought exclusives were sometimes the best exclusives were ones that were cool, but wouldn't break your heart if you couldn't find. And this plays right in that kind of sweet spot, I think.
So how many will you be ordering before Walmart cancels that order?
Right. I was just going to say, CollectorCon, hey, are you going to get me my Zartan from last year that I pre-ordered Walmart? Just saying.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, I'll try to get one.
All right.
Put me down
Derryl,
for
what
3 empty boxes.
Derryl, what do you think?
Excellent choice. I actually love the colorways on the bike. I think that it looks fantastic. I like the brown in there. It kind of reminds me of some of the what is it, Lightfoot, Night Force Lightfoot, I guess, had the brown colorways. Shockwave isn't doing it for me. I think he's too light overall. And I was never a fan of that light color camo. I think when we did a 6-pack for Toys R Us, we did it like with a darker camo pant that I thought might have been more effective. So not the biggest fan of Shockwave. Shockwave is a great character choice, but wish he was just a little more classic Night Forcey, in some way, classic or a little more Night.
Yeah, the dark olive is kind of it's an interesting color choice. I get that you don't necessarily want to just do black everything.
Yep.
Like that's boring too, but that green,
that's an homage to the original.
Right. But
yeah.
I think maybe a darker green would have worked a little better. It just seems a little light and pale. So I mean that's a nitpick. I think if you're looking for something exclusive to have at a retailer, this is a solid choice. Like this is well thought out, well planned.
Yeah, this is a good product. Yeah, really good product.
Mark said there's no real tie to the Ram, but nobody has a real tie to the Ram, do they? It didn't come with a figure. You can put anybody on the Ram. Me, Racktime Rob, and I, we were putting different guys on the Ram for 6-7 years after the Ram came out.
You can put Breaker on it, but he has to shave first. That's how it works.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get the stubble going.
Mm-hmm. No, totally clean. The original Ram box
cuts the wind resistance.
Yeah, absolutely. Or it drove so fast, just blew the beard right off it.
But it's he's got a lot of gear for a dude on a motorcycle, but that's not a problem, right?
Yeah.
He was a little underarmed in his regular release. So it's kind of cool that he's got the entire armory at his disposal for this one.
Derek Holloman brings up a good point. Breaker got no loadout with his Ram.
Yeah.
So maybe he can go hit a Shockwave for a
Shockwave's kicking it. Let's see what they're going to charge people for the loadout here.
Right.
Ideally, this would be what, $39.99?
I think 42 is where the Tiger Force one with Duke was. So that's kind of the line that we're at.
Yep. Maybe some inflation beyond that. So
yeah, that Duke one, you gotta remember though, that Duke one had to pay the royalty to Diana Davis. So
she doesn't own Duke.
Yeah, she does.
She owns many Dukes, but she doesn't own Duke.
She owns all the Duke, last I checked.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Does she have Channing Tatum in a plastic box in her basement? Yes. But that's not the same thing.
That's really the best place for him.
It is. Better there than in movies.
Haven't seen him in a while, right? So
but,
he's still crying over the failure of Gambit to materialize.
Folks are guessing $55 in live chat. I don't know. We'll find
out. That's a lot.
That would be high. I don't want to speculate on price. I don't want to start throwing numbers around until we've actually got a number.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we will be there to I'm sure this will be back around for us to talk about next week. We will cover it in episode 301.
Yep. Diana brings up a great point. There was no official Ram driver, so it makes sense. You can include it with just about anybody for any mission, any story.
Right. Like I said, Racktime Rob and I, we were throwing different guys on the Ram for 6-7 years.
Yep.
Racktime Rob, what do you think of this?
Looks fine. Like I said, I'm on the fence on whether I'm going to buy it or not. I do like the paint scheme on the bike. I think the bike looks pretty cool.
Yeah. I like the bike almost better than I like Shockwave.
Yeah.
But
you were pulling for Night Force Flash.
I'm pulling for any Flash. I don't care at this point. I need it done. I'm tired of waiting.
It's nice
Diana Davis notes that she does not have Channing Tatum in her basement. He's in the garage. She doesn't have.
I only called her out because she's here to defend herself.
I'm trying to throw people off the scent, Diana, but sure. You go ahead and you give everybody the floor plan to your house. You let them know where to find
Right.
Channing Tatum.
No one's looking.
That was-
Yeah, well, that's right. Like his parents are like, good. He ate a ton. All that protein. Anyways.
Jim Smith says the price is posted on this,
There you go.
Oh, is it? Okay.
and it
Yeah.
says 56.
There it is, Jim Smith. It's not a guess. It's on their website. See, I hadn't checked that out or looked that closely in a while. But welcome to the show, Jim. Appreciate having you.
Free shipping, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No.
Well, why charge? You can't charge shipping on an empty box.
They
Didn't
can
they-
and they will.
Didn't they charge you shipping on an empty box, Rob?
They refunded it, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so there you have it, $56. Awesome. That seems a little high, but most of these exclusives have been kind of high. Like remember the Viper 3-pack was $90. The convention set was, well, granted that was a convention set, but that was $90. So yeah, that feels a little high, but that's what they've been doing lately.
The original not the original, but the classified sidecar originally housed that Gatling gun. On this one, it has diamonds in it. Yes.
Ooh,
Yeah. So $56, a deal.
they're just rhinestones. They're not
Diamonds. Cubic zirconia.
Yeah.
They're lab diamonds. It's blood or nothing.
Fair enough.
But next news item.
Do.
Hey, Skybound's
this
got
is
some
cool.
stuff coming. These were announced over this past week. We've the other two G.I. Joe mini-series before we get to the main title in the Energon universe will be Scarlet and Destro. You can see the first 5 pages of both on Skybound's website. Scarlet is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Marco Ferrari and Lee Lawfridge. It is rated ambidextrous.
Come on.
It will be first issue will be available June 5th. Have you guys checked out those previews?
I
A little
checked
bit,
out
yeah.
the covers.
Racktime Rob, you're our comics guy. What do you think?
I'm looking forward to this. I would have put money on the next two being. I was really expecting Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, but no, I'm glad they're going in a different tack and on two characters who are really interesting but don't get enough of their background spotlight.
Right. Clearly, you are a fool.
Oh,
I guess so, but that's all right. I'm happy to be wrong.
It looks like the Arashikage logo is written in blood in the snow there or something like that.
Right.
What do you make of that, Rob?
It's better than in yellow, or if someone needs to see a doctor.
Well, in the write-ups, Jinx is going to be a part of this book.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So if
Yeah,
nothing
Scarlet.
else,
I think they're talking about Scarlet having to perhaps infiltrate the Arashikage or
Okay.
so
becoming aware of it.
we know there is at least a tangential relation there. So it's not going to be too far outside of that circle. And that's again, it's a great way to introduce that element of the story without just coming out and doing 5 issues of Snake Eyes and 5 issues of Storm Shadow.
Yep.
It's to kind of lean into it. Because, I mean, don't you know, the main title is going to be Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow enough.
Yeah.
They don't need to have miniseries of their own. We need a Scarlet miniseries. We need a Destro miniseries. Scarlet has been noticeably absent to this point through 3 issues of Duke and 2 issues of Cobra Commander. So it's nice that they have an entry point for her in the Energon universe.
It looks kind of like James Bond Black Widowish. It's
Right.
which would be great. But how are you going to have alternate covers with her left-handed or right-handed?
It's rated ambidextrous, Mark.
I get that she probably is pretty deadly with both hands, but she probably has a preference, right?
It is rated ambidextrous.
Yeah, Scarlet's right-handed. I'll die on that hill.
We're just going to laugh at you dying on that hill, Mark. It's
Hey
fine.
man, I don't.
You're allowed to have your hill. Nobody's trying to change your
What?
mind. I just think it's fun.
Just laugh your ass off on Planet Ignorant.
Right.
Scarlet's right-handed.
That's been for 13 years, Mark. Where have you been?
Scarlet's right-handed. Just saying.
Look, we're not disagreeing with you. We're just
Good.
laughing that that's the hill that you're choosing to die on.
Hey, man, that and the brutal chest cut. I got two things.
You got more than two things.
Well, I got yeah. I don't
You got
got
more than
issues. I got subscriptions, but those are two that I'm particularly passionate about.
Nobody mentioned the Young Bucks.
Right? No, guess what, Mike? No one does.
Nobody does. No. Oh, and of course, along the same line, there's Destro. That is written by Dan Waters with pencils by Andre Bresson and Jordi Belair. I don't think Jordi Belair is correct. I think I just forgot to change the name there. That is rated weapons grade. And first issue of Destro is going to be available June 19th. But interesting take on Destro there. He's clearly got, that is not just a metal mask on his dome. He is clearly full of facial expression. Derryl, what do you think?
I haven't read any of this universe yet, so I've pulled the books, but they're back here on the shelf. But I just haven't read them. But I think I need to add Scarlet and Destro to my pull list at the comic shop because I don't think I did yet. So I'll get it. But if you really ask me, what do I think about Destro? I think it should be a mask, not a plastic kind of face thing.
That's one of the things that I actually liked how they did it in the movie. Right?
Yep.
It was nanotech. Makes sense, right?
Yep.
That way you can have him talk and move his mouth and stuff, and it all works.
I don't remember seeing him wear a mask in the movie, but maybe I blinked.
It was right at the end for about 3 seconds, right?
Well, he got the nanobots, and it kind of like turned him into metal.
Yeah,
right.
For a heartbeat.
So it wasn't a mask there, but I mean, you can have a nanotech mask
for 3 seconds at the end.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So you mean to tell me there was a 2-hour live-action G.I. Joe movie that didn't really show Destro in a mask or Cobra Commander in a battle helmet or hood?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Who writes this?
I don't know.
Come on.
Nobody did. It was during the strike.
Good boy.
So they just kind of scraped together.
Yeah, it was during the last writer's strike. Yeah.
They scraped together some stuff and threw some G.I. Joe names in it, and movie.
There you go.
Still better than Snake Eyes. Anyways, that is coming on June 19th.
Barely.
I still can't believe Akiko survived. No way.
Messed up is what that is.
No way.
Dave McDonald laments no Cobra Overlord miniseries. No, not yet, but give it time.
Yeah.
Give it time. The Energon universe is a new universe. So the Cobra Overlord's day just maybe hasn't come yet.
The next round is Ice Cream Soldier and Crystal Ball.
Zaymot CGCS, is there any chance the Duke miniseries gets reprinted into a trade paperback? Dude, it's 2024. Everything gets reprinted into a trade paperback.
Oh yeah, they just have to finish.
Right. Well, it'll get there. They got to get issues 4 and 5 out, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, probably no more than a month after 5 comes out, there'll be a trade paperback.
That'd be really cutting edge if they put out the trade paperback first and then the single issues.
That's gutsy right there. Gutsy. Yeah, but considering the sales on those books have been just astronomical, they're going to get released as trades. So if you missed out, don't sweat it. It'll be there for you. Mm-hmm. Those trades are going to get second printings.
Yeah.
Jeff Butler says to give Mark an Interrogator miniseries. No.
I'm sure he was the second pick, right? But they managed to get Destro signed.
Not until his attitude improves.
Yeah. That's what we call foreshadowing, though, by the way.
It's rated ambidextrous, Mark.
Yeah. Also amphibious. You know, looking at that cover, though, I don't have the worst red hair in the room. What's going on there?
She can breathe underwater. It's rated ambidextrous.
Is that like an Elvis Pompadour sliding off the top or what?
No. She's got the high ponytail.
Okay. And I don't. So fine.
Correct. Well, not today anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
You're just letting it hang in the back.
Tomorrow's a brand new day.
Right. just letting it hang in the back.
If Scarlett wants to cut that off and send it to me, I'll put it right on top here.
Maybe Joe
That'll be a
Colton
good
can help
look.
you out. Joe
I
Colton
know a
has some
guy-
wigs.
I know a guy who can use it.
Joe Colton has red wigs. She'll help you out.
I will too someday. Probably next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday at 9.
Right?
He's going to be Conan O'Brien ended up.
Episode 301. We finally start season 2. But Derryl, I tell you, Energon Universe is a great read. I did not expect it to be a great read. So I had the lowest of expectations. And it's been nothing but an enjoyable read. I cannot recommend it enough.
So I've heard. I just need to kind of clear the deck and start reading them. I need to finish some IDW stuff first, but
Oh, you know,
I tend to be a serial completist, but and then I'll go in. But actually, the great thing about this is I don't have to worry about it. I can just start fresh, right?
right.
So
Right. This is completely disconnected. So whenever you decide to read it is fine.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Especially the Duke series. I'm really, really loving the Duke series. It's going fast though. Lots of action. Anyways, next news item. Oh, that's the last news item. Remember, the G.I. Joe 3D Printing Podcast is proud to present Chonky Tank Kitty and his Meowler Tank. We will have more news about Chonky Tank Kitty going forward as we get closer to Joe Fest. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. We'll have certainly more to report. Not only about our friend Chonky Tank Kitty, but also our friend Staff Sergeant C-Nugs. So
it should be sponsored by Amazon right there.
Right, but they would sue us. So I can't do that.
Okay.
I don't want to put that in.
You cleverly can't see all of that logo. It might not be Amazon.
Right. It's got a tongue sticking out. You just can't quite tell.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's my story.
Right.
They can't
sticking to it.
They can't sue us. We don't have any money.
That's that is the truth. Smart companies never sue broke people.
Mm.
We do have a coffee account set up down below. If you've got a couple of bucks laying around, feel free to donate. Remember, if you give us the monthly donation, any amount over $1, that gets your name in our closing credits. That is also what's known as the What's on Joe Mind Legal Defense Fund.
And you might need it because I've said Amazon now, the AI troll bots that go over every podcast will find that and they may come after you. Or
that may actually get us into the algorithm.
Right. As long as the AI, as long as the AI bots click, like, and subscribe.
Yeah, sure.
Come on down.
Yeah, we got no problem with them at that point.
Come on down.
Yeah.
And then
that's
get
the
me
news. Stay with us. We got a quick word from our good friends and wonderful sponsors at Kokomo Toys. We'll be right back.
We buy, sell, and trade vintage and modern toys. G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Transformers, Marvel, DC, and more. Located in beautiful downtown Kokomo, Indiana, we are open every Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 5. It's a theme park of nostalgia. Join the thousands of people who have traveled from all over the Midwest for over a decade to buy and sell with us. Get your geek on.
All right, we've got some time set aside for everybody to, of course, do participate in our main event tonight. Live questions and answers with former Hasbro VP Derryl DePriest, who, in case you've been sleeping to this point, is here on the show for the very first time in an official capacity tonight.
Yeah, ever, right?
As a host, anyway. We had you on when we went to JoeCon. So
that's right. Yes, that's of course. Yes,
things like that. It's part of the mass of 500 episodes, but it's the first time you've been on as a host. So,
yay!
As a guest host / guest.
Finally.
So, anyways,
first proper episode.
That's right.
First up out of the old post talk, we have a couple of just general questions / statements. Hey guys, or rather, hey guys. Wanted to share some pictures of a Jeep I saw at the Kissimmee Collector Fest this past weekend. Nobody sent us an email about Kissimmee Collector Fest. We just certainly plugged it. Of course, I was wearing my What's on Joe Mind t-shirt. Well done.
Yay.
Anyways, the Jeep was part of the Finest Cosplay Group Task Force 27. There are additional pictures on their Facebook page, but I figured I'd send you some pictures anyway. Humble brag, I was able to get a low light mint on card. I would have bought a Beachhead, but Mike owns them all.
Yeah.
LOL. Thanks for all you guys do and keep up the great work. Sincerely, Brian Fabian. Well, thank you for the letter, Brian. We do have his pictures up in the next photo here, and you can see the Jeep there. Again, better pictures are available on the Finest, on the Finest Facebook page. But you've got the Jeep on the outside, and then we've got a couple shots of the interior and the back.
Incredible work. Fantastic.
I don't know how they do stuff like that and do it well. Like if I tried to outfit a Jeep like it was a G.I. Joe vehicle, undoubtedly it would look like a piece of crap. So
I like that he went hardcore and put the sound attack weapon on the top.
Yeah, the sound attack. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, because if they went for the realistic looking stuff, he's going to jail.
That's a good point. Maybe if they painted it orange.
Right.
Paint the tab orange. There you go.
Right. Sound attack weapon is on board. All good.
Let's hit him with sound attack.
Make sure to bring our humongous backpacks into action.
I love sound attack.
Plug those things in, you hear a nice.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got, hey, gang, congratulations on your upcoming 300th regular episode. Will your 300th show end on a cliffhanger, followed by a year off, and then finally a return to greatness on a different video distribution platform? Maybe Larry Hama can give you some pointers on the process. Thanks, from Brad Glenn. Yes, actually, he sussed us out from the subliminal clues I have left across our social media. He's got it figured out. We will be gone for a year after this episode. And then back on 10-minute episodes on TikTok.
I thought we were going to revitalize MySpace. Yeah.
Well, that was our original plan, but he C&D'd us. So
Right.
Fair enough.
I was not friends with Tom, so he shut us down. George, I can't pronounce that, George. I'm sorry. Oversized missile firing backpack. I'm thinking the big ones that came with the Sonic Fighters dudes that there's no way you're gonna have a figure stand on a foot peg with that thing and expect it to stay up.
They're all like,
again, I bought that Tunnel Rat one a couple of weeks back, and the figure itself is a sharp looking figure. You put that backpack on it and it becomes high comedy.
Several of those figures are really good figs once you crack the backpack off.
Right. Well, I mean, that was the Sonic Fighter one, the second series that it's not screwed on.
Okay.
So you can just take it off like a normal backpack and have a nice alt color Tunnel Rat for your display purposes.
And have actual adventures as opposed to Tunnel Rat complains about his back hurting.
Right. Yeah. As opposed to Tunnel Rat.
It was like the talking battle commanders that had the screwed on backpack, right?
I love that they take a guy whose job is to crawl around underground in little tiny pipes, and they're like, "Here, take this piano on your back."
And on the regular figure, his backpack is huge. I mean, yeah.
George says, "Name looks worse than it sounds." Look, I hear you, man. We grew up Irizares, so we understand what that is. First day of school, the teacher's taking roll, and Mike.
Arizary.
Right.
Oof.
Right. So yeah, besides moving to TikTok, of course, will excite and enrage irrational people in our government. So that's why I'm all for it.
Wait till you see our choreographed Beyonce line dance. It's thrilling.
It's something.
It's the three of it, not two people going at once, all three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, sometime around next September, Derryl will challenge us to the Ice Bucket Challenge.
No, but I agree with Phil. He says Sonic Fighters Viper is my favorite color scheme. I love the Sonic Fighters Viper too. Phil, I army built that one big time.
It's a nice figure. I have a couple of those. I don't don't have any of the backpack for him. But what I do have,
you don't need the backpack. It's just a fantastic army builder. Line them up.
It's kind of weird. I kind of like the orange, the burnt orange, red and gold scheme.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's kind of so ugly, it's pretty. And one more. This one is actually a question for Derryl through our social media. We told you guys to send them in early, and really nobody did, except for this one. Hey, Derryl and team. Sketches for a Globulus figure were seen around the Pursuit of Cobra / 30th anniversary era. What were the plans for modern era Cobra Law figures? We got Nemesis Enforcer and the Joe Club Pythona, and nobody else. Also, the Kindle fan contest was awesome, and I would have loved to see more initiatives like that for other fan-created characters. Thanks for all your hard work on the best action figure line of all time. That is from Sean J. Berg, better known as the Word Burglar.
Yeah, great
gentlemen,
question. Thanks,
gentlemen. We have waited. I have no excuses past. I'm not good at this. We have not had him on the show yet, and that is.
Oh, you need to have Word Burglar. Oh, so good.
Rap Viper never shoots blanks.
Yep. But so let's get to the heart of this. Few things to unpack. So first, sketches for Globulus figure. So I will admit, neither Mark or I was on the brand during Pursuit of Cobra or the later part of the 30th anniversary era or the Rise of Cobra. That was like a 2-year, maybe, about a 2-year slice where I wasn't on the brand. So a lot of things happened. Most of it led by, I think, John Warden in design was pushing forward a lot of the character selects. He was knocking it out of the park. We picked up some of those after we came on in the post Pursuit of Cobra era. Right. But I don't remember seeing a Globulus sketch, and it was never talked about as a sub team that John and team had a passion to do. So we picked it up and we went in just in a different era. So it was never a priority for us. But it's funny because I never remember seeing the sketch either. But and so we let the club really do that. That's why they kind of took over and did Pythona and whatever else they did. So don't really know the answer. As to your comment on Kindle, that was a real highlight, I think, and I'll let Mark speak to this, of the time there, is actually working with the fans who are writing the Kindle content and bringing those characters to life. I really wish we could have done a year or two more of those. I have to say, Mark, that we would have done more of the fans' choice because I'd love to bring those characters actually into the line. If you want to address any more of that.
Yeah, and we had 4 finalists, and they were all quality characters that could have fit in line. And I think, you know, had we had a longer run with it, I think we would have tried to get all 4 of them made eventually.
I think so.
On top of doing more outreach, because they were really something. And I think that's something Derryl and I agreed on then and agreed on now, is the lifeblood of both Joe and Transformers in their heyday was new characters. Got to have newness. And that was something that I think both brands get away from sometimes. And so being able to invite the fans in to be part of the process to help us get new characters in the line is win-win all around. So that was one of my favorite things. Again, I wasn't on Joe for very long, but I really thought that was one of the best things I was associated with in my whole toy career. It was.
I agree. It was great.
I think if Joe had been at a higher tide when I was on the brand, it would have been something people, you know, still remember and talked about in the general toy community. As it was, Joe was kind of just getting by, but it was still really, really something.
Yep.
They're there to appease the obnoxious few.
Yes, we still are.
Right.
The passion.
The Joe section of the Kindle Worlds was one of the more popular ones, wasn't it?
It was. Kindle Worlds was an interesting thing because if you look at the top brands at the time, it was kind of all over the map. There were, and it definitely came down to the brands that could get a social following to kind of elevate it and lift it up. Those were the ones that I think succeeded, because Amazon and they themselves did no marketing. It all was either organic or it was like us, telling people about it, evangelizing it, and the authors themselves, with their social media presences playing it up. And they did a really good job of that. I think the top, I don't remember the exact brand, but it was like almost a romance one. I want to say. So it was like a wacky mix at the top. It wasn't all like, fantasy properties, leading the way. It was
right.
It was kind of a unique mix. But Joe was up there, I think, number 2 or 3 most popular of the Kindle Worlds, universes. It was definitely an innovative program. I give a lot of credit to Michael Kelly, formerly of Hasbro Publishing, who spearheaded that and gave everybody a lot of rope to play with. And it was really good. It was a really good initiative. And we had fun with it, right? Great job, Mark. And
Definitely.
Glad people enjoyed it.
David Allen asks, Derryl, what do you think of the Transformers and G.I. Joe collaborations?
Oh, well, so I love them because they have 3 3/4 scale figures and O-ring figures, right? If I'm correct. So big fan of those. I backed them all. I have them. I haven't opened them yet because so I can't can't comment on, they executed it superbly, but I love the concept. I'm waiting to kind of build my photo studio in my garage so I can shoot everything in the package before I take it out of the package. So stuff is backing up, and it has been for a long time, but I'm definitely a big fan, supportive of them. And I hope they continue, but we're getting O-ring figures in other ways. So that's good too.
Phil Donnelly asks, all right, Derryl, for the record, what's your favorite 12-inch Joe?
It's the one that I know that I definitively had when I was a kid. that I grew up with in the 70s. The Adventure one Adventure Team guy I got as a gift. I have 2 Joes that I can identify, and one I bought for a nickel at a garage sale who was all taped up. He had tape scars all over him. So he became the doctor of the team. So those are the only 2. But my biggest regret is all the ones I used to have are lost to time because they've been either upgraded or moved out or sold without me knowing that it was actually one that I had as a kid. So, but those 2 I can identify. So
we got to get out there and rough up your folks, Derryl.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you don't need to do that. I've inherited all my brother's Joes, and my parents actually, would scour the flea markets for Joes for me when I was in grad school and later on. So they were very supportive and got me more Joes. But I think Phil might be asking what's my favorite, maybe modern Joe. I'll put it, outside of vintage. And I've got a few, but I would say at the end of my time there at Hasbro, we were doing some phenomenal military Joes. And I think one of my favorites, it might be, we were on the verge of doing all of the futuristic future warriors that Natick had been developing. We sent a team up to the Natick labs, got a peek behind the scenes of all their future tech. And we were working on a drone figure that never shipped. It was really cool. So I do have that it never shipped. It was done by, I think, Greg Attori, who also I think has showed that in public. And that's kind of like, that's one of my favorite Joes. I wish it had shipped because I think everybody would have loved that figure. But some of the figures that we were doing at the end were unbelievable. The team was just knocking it out of the park on those 12-inch military Joes.
So to answer Phil's question, Navy linebacker.
Interestingly, I actually own the painting. I don't own many of the modern Joe package paintings, but the Navy linebacker and Army quarterback is actually one painting I own. And
there you go.
I think it's one painting that was then split into 2 frames. And I got it. Okay, here's a funny story. So I got that in a lot with the I think it might be the Apollo astronaut inside panel, the 12-inch Apollo astronaut Joe inside panel. I got those in a lot when the Cincinnati Kenner office was being shut down and auctioned off.
Oh wow.
When the people who moved the important things from that Cincinnati office over to Pawtucket. They went through and they marked everything with Post-it notes or whatever, everything that was to go. Anything that looked military, they flagged, and it made all those paintings made their way over to Rhode Island. And they auctioned off everything else, the Batman package paintings and anything else that didn't look like it needed to go to Rhode Island. So that's how I got the Navy linebackers and the astronaut, because they didn't look like G.I. Joes.
Okay.
They were military. So whoever decided on that didn't know what they were. I ended up with them. So
that's pretty cool. I actually really like that figure, which is why I wasn't making fun of Navy linebacker. I love Navy linebacker. I think it's a fantastic figure, so I decided to throw it out.
Good figure, and they're fun. They're fun paintings to look at too. So it's cool. It's pretty cool.
Jeff Butler asked, Derryl, what are your thoughts on the October Guard character Red Star? Could he ever be in classified? Since he's from Ukraine, you'd be a great resistance fighter for their cause.
That is certainly true. I love all the October Guard characters. Every one that could be made. So when I had all of my 3 3/4 figures up on display, I had Red Star right there with the October Guard characters. As far as classified, I don't know. Hasbro will have to answer that if he's ever a candidate for that. I myself actually am not a classified collector, except for the HasLab I supported, the His Tank. I supported that because it's just a work of art. And then I got the missile system that just came out. So, but other than that, I am trying not to. The classified stuff is amazing, and I worked on the beginning of the classified line before I was let go at Hasbro. So that was, it was in the works when I was there, and we were working on it. But I've resisted actually collecting classified just because I don't need another line to collect, and I love 3 3/4, and I'm committed to 3 3/4.
I do have some duplicates you can have, Derryl. If you're looking to maybe expand out, I've got some extras.
Look, I'm not gonna get started. I got the His Tank because it is freaking phenomenal. It is unbelievably cool, and I'm happy with that. Just as a piece of art, functional play toy art, just in my office here. I haven't cracked it out yet, but and I'm happy with that. But otherwise, I am not going to start a 6-inch Joe line, just like I'm not a 6-inch Star Wars collector either. I've got the 3 3/4 scale, and I love to keep army building, those scales.
I can totally respect that. But if that His Tank catches on fire, you're going to wish you had a Slaughter's Marauders barbecue. Yeah. Hanging around. Just saying.
All right, you got that joke in. All right.
Just saying.
Good one.
See, Mark, even Derryl's rolling his eyes at you. You see that?
But okay, let me look at Jeff's question again. If the team actually started doing October Guard 6-inch figures, I might be tempted, because I love October Guard like I love Mandalorians in Star Wars. And it's probably no coincidence that, when I had my chance to be a character in either universe, I picked October Guard and Mandalorians. Right. It's like that third faction that can muck everything up, tip the balance, come in, and it made for great storytelling in Larry's time. I just love the October Guard. Just loved it. So I would probably get those 6-inch figures. Bring it on, I say.
6-inch horror show is a must for any collection. I don't care.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Weighs 5 pounds.
So there you go. If the Hasbro team is listening to this, and I heard they do, my vote is you'll get a new customer
right
when you do those October Guard figures.
If they listen to What's on Joe Mind, they do a great job of hiding it. David Warren Hernandez asked, Derryl, what are you collecting and completing in regards to toy lines, retro or modern?
Oh man! So first of all, I'm when it comes to loose figures,
everybody get comfortable.
I'm a completist army builder, and so I'm like I have it bad. So when it comes to G.I. Joe, I have a complete 3 3/4 G.I. Joe line from 82 and up. Every figure all categorized loose. Plus, I'm an army builder, so I have tons and tons of my favorite army builders, and I have all the vehicles. Also, when it comes to 3 3/4 Joe, I have everything vintage 82 to 94, almost everything packaged or carded as well. And I'm even worse because when it comes to carded figures, I actually track the variations on the front or the back of the card. So when it comes to, take an 86 figure, it may have had the battle ribbon, or it may have had the mail in, or may have had a different promotion. I have to have all the variations of those figures
Oh my
carded as
busy.
well in my collection. So it does keep me busy. So I'm happy every year if I had 5, 6, 7 of the figures that I'm missing in the holes. So I collect that. I collect vintage 12-inch Joe. I collect basically all 12-inch Joe all the way through the modern era too. I have yet to order that what is it, Fig Zero Snake Eyes that went up last week? Is that what it was? I haven't ordered that yet, but I will, because I'm a completist. I'm a Marvel Legends completist, loose only, not packaged. And then Star Wars 3 3/4 loose complete only, except for vintage Kenner complete package collection. So that's I think that's pretty good. Oh, but I also collect Micronauts, Shogun Warriors, and let's see, Modern Mego, and it's all kinds of stuff. It's too much stuff.
No vintage Mego?
Way too much. No, I don't need to have vintage Mego. It's too expensive. And I decided I'm happy with modern Mego. You can get pretty much all the characters that they made. You don't, I don't need to go have a vintage Mego. The only thing vintage Mego that I think is missing, I'm missing, are Star Trek Aliens. Some of those I used to have them, but I sold them years ago. But pretty pricey. Oh, and I do Captain Action as well. So
if we just sit here and look at him long enough, he'll come up with something else.
It's way too much stuff.
The Adventure People, Big Jim, $6 Million Man.
It's way too much.
Hawaiian shirts, perhaps?
And I do collect Hawaiian. Well, I don't collect Hawaiian shirts. I just wore them every Friday at Hasbro. And the occasional convention.
He's got Love Boat, loose and on card.
Yeah.
MASH.
Yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep. I take it back. Vintage Mego, I do collect Planet of the Apes. I love apes, and I army build soldier apes. So I've got that sickness.
That's one of the 3 big Mego lines. So,
Yeah, I mean,
it is.
Who doesn't? I mean,
it is, and great play sets too. I love that line. So
that was fantastic stuff. So no, nothing but love there. That was.
Yep.
You touch on some of the oddballs that I would be into if I had anything resembling space.
Yep.
Viper Scout asks, is there a character you thought would be really popular and wasn't, or one you thought you wouldn't be and turned out to be a fan favorite?
Ooh, that's a heck of a. I'd have to really think on that, because generally, I think my intuitions were mostly pretty correct, and we managed the releases that way. So we were careful with figures that I didn't think would be popular, and we didn't chase them too much. And then on the other hand, when we knew they'd be popular, we made a lot of them if it was a great army builder or something. So I don't really have a good answer for that off the top of my head. Mark, do you have
the one guy
that ready?
It always threw me from being just a kid collector all the way to working in the industry was the popularity of Bazooka in the G.I. Joe line. I mean, I get the bright red shirt and everything, but he was always cast as kind of a doof, right? He was Bazooka, and he came with the weakest looking bazooka you've ever seen as an accessory. He had a backpack with no straps. So I guess he just held it on by telekinesis. I never got the bazooka thing, but he's been enduringly popular. So I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to scratch my head a little bit and go, wow, I never quite got that.
He just licked the backpack and stuck it on real good.
I guess, right? Captain Velcro.
Yep. And so Viper Scout, to just add one more thing there, the way that we ended up managing the line was more of a wave-based model versus when Kirk and team managed the line from 82 to 94. It was mostly an ongoing line with a singular package look, and they were able to chase the hit figures and just keep them going keep them in the line for years. We had a very different model until the end, of course, until the 90s when they were having, a different package line looks and sub teams every year. We had a very different approach with the wave-based model, and knowing that our packaging was going to be completely changed for the next year. We had a 12-month look at things, a 12-month window. We built the line to the 12 months, and then we were planning a whole nother line. So it gave us very little ability to chase characters that were really hot. Instead, we would just put them in the line next year. And for the most part, the best sellers we had were the ones that you would expect. So, and we really didn't get a lot of signal until we listened to the fans, and they might have told us like, a character like Chuckles, turned out to be like, probably more popular than, I don't even think we released it. Did we release a Chuckles figure? Probably not in the early days, but some characters rose up, but I think it was more due to what was going on in pop culture around them, rather than anything that that we could do or chase in the line, just because of the way that we managed the lines.
George Fiadzusko, that's what I'm going to try it there. Ooh. Derryl, any chance of a new book about 3 3/4 Joes along the lines of what you and your co-authors did for Star Wars? Here's hoping.
That would be really fun.
So first off, before you answer that one, Derryl, tell everybody about the book you wrote for 3 3/4 Star Wars, because we have some folks that may not know that.
Let me see if I can grab it here for you guys. Where is my copy?
Are you surrounded by bookshelves? That's awesome.
Yes, I am surrounded by bookshelves, and I don't know where it went, but here it is. Just one sec.
Okay.
Big reveal. It's kind of selfish, Mike. Just saying.
So the reason I had trouble finding it is on the bookshelf. This is what the spine looks like. So there's no label on it, but this is the slipcover for the Vintage Collection Archive Edition that I wrote with Rich Alott and D. Martin Myatt. And let me get this out. The slipcover is so cool. So it's there it is, the Vintage Collection Archive Edition, and it covers the entire Vintage Collection even before its inception, from the previous figures that we did that led up to the 2010 creation of the Vintage Collection, all the way through the figures released in 2019. So bottom line, so this is an incredibly well-researched book. The pictures are beautiful. I would love to do something like this for 3 3/4 someday. But here's the challenge. How do you slice 3 3/4? Because the vintage 3 3/4 has been covered so well, by so many people. I really need to figure out what the new angle is, because when it comes to the products, I mean, Belomo's book is great. When it comes to the interviews with the designers, Klingensmith's, books are fantastic, and they've got tons of details in there. So I'm still thinking of a way, to get in there that is new ground that hasn't been done before. So, right. And I don't have all the contacts with all the designers. Dan, has that. I know them all, but it's a big undertaking right now to go interview them. And then Carson's work on all the package paintings is phenomenal too. So I don't know if, they've done such a great job. I don't know if there's a lot of, daylight to do something new, but it is at the back of my mind to try and figure out, how can I contribute something that hasn't really been done before. But thanks. That's a great comment. I appreciate it.
Firefly asks, Derryl, what was the plan for the very early classified figures long term, and who or what influenced the way they were designed? Sci-fi armor and Nerf gun weapons.
Oh my gosh, you're talking about the first waves, Firefly?
I'm going to guess so,
very first. Yeah. So, as Mark knows, or probably knows, we had 6-inch figures on the line plan for the last several years that I was at Hasbro. And it wasn't called classified then. It was just like the 6-inch super detailed line. And we were desperate to try and launch these figures, but G.I. Joe got no support. The only support G.I. Joe was going to get was when there was a new movie on the way. So the launch of 6-inch. So I pleaded for support. I said this could stand alone. The fan demand for this is so huge that it will be a successful line. But the management team at the time had basically no confidence, and they were working under kind of a different set of metrics than what I see, Hasbro operating under for the last couple of years, where, now item count doesn't even seem to be a limit, but we really labored under it. And so we had to take very few items. So launching a 12-inch line, I knew would be item count intensive, because you have to set up a wave at retail. Then you have to follow that up once that wave is successful. And in the course of 12 months, you have to have multiple waves. So the shelves just don't go fallow. They don't get boring, and collectors don't get bored of just the same figures. So I would say that we needed to have at least 18 figures to fill that year. And there was no way we were getting 18 figures. So I got shot down every time I presented a 6-inch plan. And then we went back to the few, the handful of, magic seed corn that makes reindeers fly and wax candle stubs, right? That's all we had to work with. And we made we worked as hard as we could, but my plan was to have a 6-inch line long before, and I think it would have been tremendously successful, and we could have had 3 more years with it. So to answer your particular question, Firefly, so in my last year on Joe was 2018, knowing that the Snake Eyes movie was coming and we were doing work on that was the chance to launch the brand, the line. So we did a lot of market research on that line. And I will say, I better be careful on what I say, but I will say the products you saw at retail were the products that were selected in market research by the people we brought in. A mix of kids and their parents. Okay. And so there was a heavy amount of kids involved in that selection, and that's why you saw figures that deviated from classic. And I was not a fan of that, and that's one of the reasons why, one of the reasons of many, I'm sure, that I'm not at Hasbro anymore. But I was really not a fan, because I knew, there was no way kids were going to be the target buying these figures, right? That it was going to be adult fans buying the figures, because they were not connected to the movie. So who really is the target? That's what I was asking. Who are we really selling these to? And there was always a belief among the management team there that if you get entertainment, kids will come. And that's not the case. And we know that to be true with so many other things, that having media doesn't necessarily mean that you're successful, but that's how people are comfortable signing off on the tooling bills and building lines, is because of the belief that kids will be in the line. So that's why the figures deviated from the classic looks. I will say the design team also didn't want to slavishly recreate the classic looks. If you're a designer, you want to put your stamp on something. So all those figures, they were designed with pride. Like, let's take the core of this figure and let's update it. So that was always Lenny's mantra, is like, what's the essence of this guy? And I want to modernize him, bring him into the future, and give him like cool stuff that we can, build a story around. And they did it. He did a great job with, the team did a great job with that charter. So, but the figures don't look like the figures now because of that initial input that we got that was, driven by market research.
So as standard, blame the children.
Blame the kids. Blame the kids. But I will say the team quickly figured it out and pivoted. They pivoted fast to what fans want, and the stuff is amazing. So I don't collect it just because, as I articulated earlier, I have too many things that I'm collecting
They're
right now.
still doing the nice update though, because
Yeah.
here's Grunt. Looks very modern, but still looks like Grunt.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. So
Yeah.
so the core of what they've done, I think there's much more of a retro tie to everything than at the beginning, where on a lot of the figures there wasn't a lot of collection or connection or context to it. That's just my opinion. But
Phil Donnelly just wants you to know he has your book, but he didn't get the slipcover version and begs your forgiveness. I say that is denied.
You're forgiven.
Yeah.
You're forgiven.
Yeah. Maybe Derryl forgives you, Phil, but I don't.
I won't.
Hey,
Nope.
He's
thanks
dead
for the support.
Dead to me. Andrew Gauguin asks, since it was running in 12-inch scale, did something like the KB Aliens Colonial Marine / Alien 2-pack come up with the G.I. Joe brand or the Aliens brand?
Oh, so what's the question here? Did something like the KB Aliens Colonial Marine Alien 2-pack come up on the G.I. Joe brand?
So I guess was it designed by the G.I. Joe team, or was there a separate team?
Oh, that I don't know. That preceded my time at Hasbro. So I want to say that was probably a 1990s release, right? And I came in 2001, so I actually don't know the answer to that. Or was it discussed on the G.I. Joe brand at the time when I came in the early 2000s to ever do an Aliens mashup? And no, we didn't. Although that was it. Had we gone longer, we probably would have been looking at some different licensing than the ones we did, like Sinbad. For those who don't know, we actually did a line of figures based on the DreamWorks movie Sinbad, at the request of DreamWorks, who begged us to do them. We did them a solid. So that's how that line came to be, not because it was any strategic thing, but so there was precedence for licensing in the 12-inch line, just not cool things like Alien.
David Allen is back, and he asks, what do you think of the Hasbro team doing one-ups of 80s stuff and not newer stuff? I guess what were the differences in the design processes, I guess.
One-ups, you mean not two-ups, but
probably, and
not new stuff. So I don't know. Is everything they're doing based on the 80s stuff right now? Is that what the consensus is? Because I haven't been paying that much attention to Classified.
I think it's a bit of a mixed bag, right? I think it's clearly more strongly influenced than it was early on.
Yeah,
but they're still trying to modernize things, and I think Spirit's a really good example, right, of a guy who kept the classic color palette and the overall look, but they upgraded, or I don't know, upgrade is subjective, but they updated a lot of things about it.
So here's the reality, though. I think David's asking a good point, and if I was the Hasbro team, I probably would be doing something very similar, but I would be looking to the generation of collectors who are grown up behind it. I know from a fan who has had to buy a lot of the 90s Joes and accessories and things like that to complete my collection in the last few years. That stuff has become red hot. And I'm talking everything from Street Fighter to, Sonic figures. That is a very hot area of collecting right now. And I think it was initially poo-pooed upon, the bright color ways of the 90s figures for a long time. I personally am a huge fan of a lot of those figure designs. I think a lot of those figure designs are amazing, but kind of buried under interesting marketing choices that Kirk and the team did to try and keep the line relevant. But otherwise, but phenomenal stuff is under there. Like the Mega Marines, some of my favorite figures. They had Play-Doh with them. You can ignore that, but those figures are phenomenal. I think Hasbro should be looking to some of those figures to pull in some of those, because I think they would tie in a generation. I think they're shopping from the 80s because that's where when G.I. Joe was its biggest, it was right there in those mid 80s years. That's the peak of it. And it's probably what a lot of the designers there grew up loving themselves. And it makes sense to concentrate in there because honestly, there's still a lot of room to play there. But I think they should be looking at some of the classics from the other line to bring that in, as well. But they're going to have to do it carefully because they may get a lot of flack from it too. For every one of those they do, it's replacing something that could have been another Night Force figure or, whatever. So
Right.
or a new character.
Stop with that. Stop with that.
Yeah.
Characters, get out of here.
Yeah. Oh, to David's actually point, he's asking about and not new characters. They should be doing new characters. Absolutely doing new characters because I think that that it expands the mythology and there's a lot of doing what was out there before is just doing an homage to the previous line, not actually creating anything substantially new. And I think they should be pushing the brand forward. There's a lot you can do.
Adam Riches asks, Derryl, I remember you saying at the last JoeCon that no other licensee would ever produce Joe figures post Fun Pub, and now Super 7, Mesco, Haya, etc. How do you feel about all this brand dilution?
Well, in my time there, definitely I said, we're not going to sub-license out 3 3/4, even though there was interest in it. But if Hasbro stated that they're not going to make 3 3/4 a platform, I'd say go ahead and license it out. I hadn't given up on it when I was there. And now if I say let the others go. So I feel good about it. I think Super 7 is going to do some amazing stuff. And I'm a big fan of the O-ring figure form myself. Right. And, so I definitely want to see that continue. As far as like the 30th anniversary type figures, okay, it's all 3 3/4 Joe. I mean, there's something I'm really big into the retro beat now. That's why I love Carson's Operation Recall. I've supported the other 3 3/4 lines that have been on Kickstarter. It's just an amazing kind of renaissance we're experiencing in O-ring, and I kind of would prefer the concentration there, but I also understand why they're going to do 30th anniversary. That has a room too. I'm a 3 3/4 fan. The highest stuff, actually, I haven't gotten any of it yet, and you guys will have to tell me, how good it is and whether it really is in scale with 3 3/4. But I've been kind of delaying getting into that until I actually see it in person. I think sometime before I jump in on that, but. Anyway, I don't know if it's brand dilution as much, Adam, as it's definitely a Hasbro licensing opportunity, and I feel for people who are unserved in the Joe 3 3/4 world like me, it's welcome. So I say bring it on. I wish that Super 7 Cobra Fortress, that flying what was it called? The
mothership.
The mothership. I wish I was one of the two I was in for a couple of those backing it, but I really wish that got funded, and hopefully that will come to see light, someday. But because that's really the only hope of new 3 3/4 stuff, other than the collabs, that they do occasionally.
Right. Which who knows if that's even on their radar anymore.
Right. Right.
Sir Nighthort has the last live question we'll take for you today. We'll let you rest the pipes for a minute. Speaking of market research, did or does Hasbro look to see what parents and kids are willing to pay for things like Star Wars and G.I. Joe figures?
Well, I'd say yes and no. In my time there, we knew what our price points were. We were always trying to deliver the lowest price point that also enabled us to hit our financial targets, because we realized that raising prices can be deadly for you, especially when your line is highly collectible and consumable. So when something like Star Wars, especially Star Wars 3 3/4 figures, it's about world building. So if you make the figures too expensive, you can't world build. If you can't have vehicles, it's just deadly. So we just kept them as low as possible. But there were, when inflation or changes in China forced us to raise prices, we took them up in measure as much as we could. We had no alternative. So, and that's when you actually got Like at one point, we took all of the articulation out of Star Wars figures, except for kind of like the classic Kenner articulation, and kind of restarted our prices there because we saw based on sales that we were losing that consumability of the line. It was just our sales were just going down and down because the price point rate, was going up, and we were losing a lot of collectors because of the economy in 2009, 2010. But so we had to reset back and say articulation isn't important to kids, but the price point is to make it consumable, and that's where you got things, for the modern trilogy movies. There was a kid line and vehicle line that had lower articulation. That's how you kind of have to respond and figure out what's important for that market and kind of reset your prices there, because we knew that the prices had gone too far. So the market research is mostly in actually what's happening with sales now and responding, to that as best you can, and taking out the things that are less important. Like, kids really don't care about articulation. They care about having the figure. And I think in Star Wars, having an important vehicle to go with the figures.
That's interesting, because I can't tell you how many folks I've spoken to over the years that, Star Wars was the big thing when G.I. Joe premiered in 1982 or re-premiered in 1982. And there are so many of us that say, hey, Star Wars is great and all, but these guys have arms that move in 360, and they've got elbows and they've got knees, and this Star Wars figure just looks real, feels real static by comparison. So, it's funny that's the line, right?
Well, if you look in the 80s, both lines were massively successful at the same time. They coexisted.
Right.
And I would argue it's chiefly the fantasy that's doing it. But G.I. Joe did have a huge advantage in that, and they put it right on the package. Today's fully articulated modern army or something like that. Is that what the line was? Today's something. It's right there in the front of it. Every 1980s
I don't have a card
figure.
in front of me.
So, and Kirk and the team, they put that right out there in front. We are articulated. There's, no other line like that. By definition, Star Wars isn't like that. But both lines were independently successful, I think, because of the fantasy, more so than the articulation. But for G.I. Joe, it was an advantage. So, you can look at a G.I. Joe figure versus a Star Wars figure, and it looked like you got more, with it. And I think, and then it became, you felt a sense of pride as a kid. G.I. Joe is more articulated. It's really got it going on. That's their hallmark. What a quality line. So that comes at a cost. The figures are expensive, but because they weren't paying a licensing fee, they could market them, competitively. So it's complicated. But in my time at Hasbro, and I'm one of the biggest ones who advanced the idea of articulation in figures, to keep moving it forward, to push Star Wars figures to be more super articulated. It got to a point where the figures would actually break. And in our market research we would bring in moms and kids, and we'd get complaints that I can't play with my Clone Wars figures because the hands have fallen off in the toy box and I can't find them. Right. So that those were literal quotes. And we had to basically say, oh, we got to step back here, because we've gone kind of too far with this. In our zeal to make the most articulated figures, we've actually forsaken play to some extent. Right. And so we had to back off things, or, later on the teams figured out joints that, the wrist didn't come out so easily, but, we definitely, kind of took it too far, and kids actually, they had a hard time manipulating the figures too, when they don't stand up, because the joints get worn out. There's so many points on the figures. So I think our I'm going to say articulation is overrated as far as the playability of toys. And
look, man, it's Star Wars. If you have any kind of screen time, you're going to lose a hand soon anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Oh, great point.
That sucker's coming out of there. So whatever, it's just movie accurate.
Great point.
But we'll cap live Q&A right there. Derryl, thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
If you have more questions, maybe this is something we can do regularly with you, Derryl. Maybe we can take up an hour of your time and let the crowd ask away and lean on the expertise of you and the honcho from your time working under the Hasbro umbrella.
Yeah, happy to chat about what some of the greatest years of my career, professional and personal career. So really fun. I'm glad people enjoy what we were able to serve up when we could. I'm glad to always answer questions and talk to folks. And, a lot of great names.
If you want to see more videos like this, by all means, give us a hell yeah down in the big boy comments down below, and we'll do our best to accommodate that. We certainly want to put stuff out there that people want to see. So yeah, let's do that. We know that Derryl's not here on Friday, but besides that, hey, he's free. He's available.
As long as I'm playing Magic on Friday, I need people to draft with. So if you're free and can come to Chattanooga, I'll draft with you. But as long as the show's not on Friday, I'm free.
And if you need more time with Derryl, head to the Dallas Toy Show and bring him a Cobra Bug.
Yep.
And he will grant you an audience. I'm sure.
I think I'm okay on bugs. I think I have about 4 bugs. That'll make a nice shelf display when I finally get around to putting them on. I think I'm good on bugs now.
There you go.
Beach Patrol.
But it's tough to resist. They are so good.
They are awesome. They really are incredible. It's a great vehicle. Absolutely one of my favorites.
I kid about it, but I have always said Hasbro needed more VPs who wanted to be on the sales floor, right? So that was I never cast that as a shortcoming.
Yeah,
we needed a lot more like that.
So we're running a bit long, Derryl, but we always do the segment what we got in.
All
do
right.
you have anything particularly cool that you want to share that you've gotten in recently?
Oh, it's just Magic cards in the last couple of days, and beyond that, no, I'm good. Just stray Marvel Legends figures from Amazon sale. I think.
All right, strays, just wandering about.
I will tell you, figures have gotten very expensive, and here's a pro tip for anybody who collects Marvel Legends. I did an experiment last year. I did not buy any Marvel Legends figures at the beginning of throughout the year. Instead, I said, I'm going to see how many of these go on sale through the course of the year. And I picked up, I'm a completist. So I picked up, I would say 97% of all the Marvel Legends figures on between 33 and 50% off last year.
Wow. The
ones I did not, where it was not able to procure, were actually related to Spider-Man. So Spider-Man Marvel Legends figures are very hot. And so I've kind of learned my lesson. If I want the, Miles Morales or whatever, got to get them now. And occasionally X-Men figures also sell out very quickly. So those are the kind of the two categories that seem to be like very hot versus what they actually release.
So Derryl, when they release a Cyclops, is that a hot one?
Yeah, Cyclops is pretty hot, especially in the retro packaging. I think it was a more difficult one to get.
See, that's the wrong answer, Derryl. You're supposed to be with us on that one.
My guy.
Supposed to be with us. I mean, it's not like he's got a whole corner of the universe to deal with like Spider-Man, but whatever. That's fine. Cyclops he's okay. He's pretty cool.
But it's an ongoing experiment. So now, I'm continuing that forward for this year. So I would say, with patience, you can get just about anything. When it comes on sale. Now, that may be a moment that may have required Hasbro to do a correction. Like maybe there was just too much inventory. I don't know why. And maybe that glut will be fixed. So I could be paying a price this year when the release quantities go down, or what people, what merchants are buying actually comes back down a little bit, and things will dry up and I'll have to pay a premium to get stuff. So we'll see how that plays out.
They did say they were reducing inventory for the coming year, so I have a feeling it's not going to work out for you quite as well.
Yep, we'll see. I'll check back this time next year.
we will keep the powder dry for you.
The experiment continues, but the sad irony is, of course, that I'm not supporting the mainline sales in a brand, and Mark knows that that's deadly when you get consumers that are to that at that point. But the prices have come up on a lot of these, especially the multi-packs. I think $24.99 for a Marvel Legends with a Build-A-Figure is still a bargain. And, I support that all day long. I think that's a great value. But a lot of these multi-packs, they're pretty thin. They're reissued. The price is really high. And,
Right.
I'm just going to do wait and sees on these. And
Right. You would think that a multi-pack with reused parts would be lower than the cost of two new figures.
You would think, but that may be.
Joe line's doing the same thing, Derryl. We get you.
Yeah. It's an easy place to go for profit, when you do that. So.
But before we move on from what we got in, I do want to do this real quick.
Hey, congrats.
That's right. We added one. So we're no longer gross. We are now more than gross. But he's a little bit of a beater.
Ooh.
He's got an intact waist, but he's well worn. This is a well loved and played with Beachhead. He is missing his right thumb of all things.
Oh wow!
You don't see Beachhead with missing thumbs very often. I think out of all the ones I have, that is maybe the second that is missing a thumb.
So I have to ask: Are you down in your Beachhead addiction now? You've bought all the good ones, and you have to buy the broken ones. Are you going to switch parts and make them whole? Or
I have never really been too I'll take. I don't want to buy just garbage, right? But like the worn down ones and the busted up ones and the well loved ones are in. They're not what I'm going to pay top dollar for. But like if I find those for affordable prices, I do pick them up. Or I've had folks send me a couple of them. We don't rely on the kindness of strangers too often, but there have been a few times. I do have my group of questionable bachelors known as the Squad. None of them are particularly what we would call mint condition. So it's the goal is not to have a pristine collection. The goal is to give us a segment of the actual Beachhead population. We want a representative sample of what's out there. And there's a few of them that are just absolutely flawless, pristine, and there's a few of them that are more like this guy, that have seen some battles and have some stories to tell.
Oh yeah,
and I love them just as much.
You just wanted to put him in the sand, and that's his name.
Right. He's got all of his stuff. I didn't have it there he's got a backpack and an ammo pack, and it's got the replacement rifle, but that's fine because the replacement rifle is just dark gray. So, but and he came with his file card. Even the guy even sent me a flag point.
Well, and it comes full circle, right? Because break a thumb, drive the ram. That's pretty much it, right? Nobody knows. Just stick that stub in there. You're good.
I still got this Vamp handy from Kentucky. He can just sit in the passenger seat, and the clutch needs a buddy.
There you go. You can drive one-handed.
That was a great find. Find.
Yeah, it was a good one. It's a good one. So we'll real quick, we do want to give a shout out here to our friends at the Bandcamp podcast. We are excited as always to feature them. Let me get their overlay up so Mark can clown around.
Let me get up to the top so I can breathe.
Right. We're excited to feature this podcast, perfect for anyone who hates censorship. It's called Bandcamp, and the duo of Jennifer and Dan host it. Bandcamp is a comedy podcast where they read banned books and try to figure out why they were banned in the first place. This season, they're reading Mark Twain's classic Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. They are getting pretty close to the end. One chapter at a time out loud. If you think banning books will lead to a not-so-great future, and you'd be right, then Bandcamp is for you. Whether you're like Jennifer, curious to read the book for the first time, or like Dan and a little too lazy to read for yourself, that is, you like your reading without all that reading, you'll love Bandcamp. So look for Bandcamp, that's band with 2 N's, on your favorite podcast player, and subscribe today. Let's all get band together.
Look what I did.
Your part showing.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
You're making it look like poor Jennifer has a bald spot right up front.
Hey, come on. Come on.
Just saying.
Like a man when he's
Right up,
down.
right here. Like she's got a receding hairline and she's combing over.
I don't got the spot. I got the creep. What are you gonna
I'm
do?
just saying. I'm just saying. Even Diana Davis notes.
Yes,
that lady
yes.
has Mark's hairline. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, fine.
That
Yeah.
was
Bad enough I got to put up with this thing all the time.
that was a sight to see. Yeah, what is that? So I can scan on that. It'll take me to something. So it's
Be careful.
It is. That will take you to our Linktree page. So all of our
very good.
social media, and you
link
can
tree.
subscribe to our YouTube page and all that other cool stuff. There's a lot of folks. I've discovered that there's a lot of folks who watch the show on television. So when I talk about stuff being down below, there's nothing down below on television. So that way they can scan the code and it'll take them there right on their phone, and no fuss, no muss. Stonegate Creation says, I make repro beachhead hips if you have any that need new manhood. I have for the most part, it's not a problem, but there are a couple that where it's broken enough to where they don't stand very well. So I may take you up on a couple of those.
Any members of the squad?
One in particular comes to mind. I think it's number 76.
That guy must be a billionaire selling replacement beachhead crotches.
Right.
Holy-
Do I have that up anymore? Do I have that in here anymore?
Does he
I
sell
took down
gold?
I took down whoops all crotches. So
Does he have the replacement gold plastic stuff too? This guy's
Right.
brilliant.
the punk with toys congratulating me on having a great idea. Well, thank you,
There you
sir. You take that idea with you and you use it for yourself too.
Mhm.
Get that done. Shout outs. Derryl, you're our guest. Who you shouting out to this week?
Shout out you guys hanging out and all the familiar names and new names in the comment section. Loved it. Thank you very much. Thanks for being fans, and thanks for making this such a fun collector fan community. I love it. So look forward to seeing everybody at shows this year. That's
Right.
my shout out.
Racktime Rob.
Shout out to the studio audience. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Derryl. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Mhm.
Thank you for having me.
Is that all you got?
That's all. I
All right.
I got to work tomorrow. I got to get to bed.
I know. Look,
We got to wrap.
it was not we were not a heavy Racktime Rob episode. I apologize for that. I want to make sure you're getting to talk as much as you want to talk. Shane Brayla says, sorry, I totally missed it. Damn.
Yeah, you're
It's all right,
lost.
man. You can
Well-
go back and watch the replay. We'll be done in a few minutes.
You're in luck.
It just so happens it's on the internet for posterity.
It'll live forever.
As long as Google Corporation is a thing, you can watch this episode and see all the Derryl in all of his Derrylness.
Mhm.
Mark Weber, shout out.
Just real quick, I put a shout out on the What's on Joe Mine Facebook page that I needed some help at New Jersey Comic Con because Marauders Gun Runners was putting together their version of an
Ooh.
interrogator.
Ooh.
Look at
This
that.
guy's, I don't have all the pouches and stuff on yet, but I got to be honest, they don't make a whole lot of interrogator stuff. So to Eddie Maladero, who took care of me and hooked me up, certainly appreciate that.
Nice.
I was there, and I've seen the Marauder booth a couple of times, and I totally forgot to look both times. So good on Eddie.
Yeah,
I'll give a shout out to Eddie too. He's bailing me out.
Yeah, and Eddie and I first met at Joe Fest a couple years ago when he came by the Hasbro booth. So look at
Eddie's
that.
a better guy than I am.
Full circle.
He's a better friend to you than I am, Mark.
I paid it forward. No, you're my target hookup.
Such as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's more Racktime Rob as your target hookup.
Okay.
He just doesn't
Well,
he just doesn't have social media, so
I know he gets all the Joe stuff first.
right.
In
Yeah.
that house.
I mean, honestly, a lot of times Racktime Rob is my target hookup.
There you
So
go.
I can't, I got to give credit where credit's due. Anybody else you got there, Mark?
No, that's it.
I give a shout out to Mark's cat, Colin.
Mhm.
Thank you for showing up today and for
This is bad.
not killing Mark on camera.
What's
yeah.
up? You in there? Oh, there he is.
Careful.
That's probably some paperwork if he did.
All right.
He's not happy.
He's never happy, Mark.
No.
There's
He's
times
got,
when
he's got two modes, asleep and mad.
there's times when he's not pissed, but he's never happy.
That's fair.
Give a shout out to our wonderful sponsors at Kokomo Toys. Real quick, we will sing the theme song. Kokomo Toys. Kokomo Toys.
Ooh, a quartet.
I know it's so rare that our guests join in on that one.
It reminds me of that time I was in that.
I've always
barbershop
wanted to.
in Skokie, Illinois.
It's almost like you're the only one that actually listens to the show, Derryl. It's strange. Strange how that works.
Actually, I disagree, Philip. I think views will go through the roof.
Phil says, "Don't get killed. It'll demonetize the video. People may watch, Derryl, but it'll demonetize it. So we don't want them to watch unless we're getting paid.
Right.
We have passed the minimum level of subscribers to be paid, so we demand monetization.
That's right. But boy, will it? People talk about it, and it'll become one of those black whatever things.
Right.
The dark web.
The dark web thing.
I want to give a shout out to our good friend and normal lead-in, Hooded Cobra Commander 788, who was not our lead-in today. Everybody was stuck watching another replay of Return to the Planet of the Apes on the Superstation. That's okay. It's a good movie. That's still okay. It's before they went totally south.
Don't watch Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
No, that's where the line is drawn.
I'm going to watch all of them getting ready for the new movie. I'm going to watch them all front to back. So
there you go. Want to give Echo Rob's shout out to the studio audience. Thank you so much for joining us live, crew. If you're catching us on replay, thank you for that too. We love you too.
Thank you.
If you're catching us on audio, hey, we love you guys too. It's funny. We have probably seen more growth on the audio channel on Podbean in the last couple of weeks than we have on the video channel, which is who we cater to. So if you're watching us, if you're part of the 24% that watched last week's episode and are not subscribed, please take a second and do some clicky things. Go down to that corner and click the like button, and go to that corner and click the subscribe button. Do all those cool YouTube things. Share us in your G.I. Joe collecting circles, be that on Facebook groups or subreddits, or just program us into your friend's phone. Just do all that cool invasive stuff that gets us over. Because it's only by interacting with us that the algorithms pick us up. We actually had one of the news nuggets this week take a second jump, which is encouraging. Ooh. That means we actually hit the algorithm with something.
Nice.
A double dip into the honey mustard.
It's good.
Right.
And that'll help offset our audio numbers that are down by 1 this week.
Right.
That one.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I don't listen to myself on podcasts, so I will not be listening. All right.
Fair enough.
Very good.
You can go back and listen to an old episode and give that in this week when you're taking your walk on Sunday or whatever.
Right.
But and of course, to everybody, thank you so much. We appreciate being here. We appreciate the opportunity to come on and entertain you each and every Tuesday. I joke about our subscriber count, but frankly, if what we are is a cult hit for our 1,400 strong band of maniacs, we'll take it because you guys are the best. But that's all we got this week. That's all we're over, but not nearly as over as last week, which
Just
is
close.
funny. Yeah, close.
All
Which is
that
funny.
progress.
Which is funny because there's so much less news this week. But Derryl got on a run.
Oh,
this is a 300th extra size issue extravaganza.
I talk too much.
That's
All right.
that's. I mean, no, man. It's episode 300. We're going. It's an anniversary. We're going long. It's double size. It's the dollar size issue of What's on Joe Mind.
That's right. It's the 100-page super spectacular for
Right.
60 cents.
Next week is the new number 1 coming up.
Yeah.
You're right. Season 2, episode 1.
Yep.
Right. That's something that shows do in the middle of their 12th year or almost 13th year of operation. That's when they start renumbering, right?
Start over.
Unless we're DC Comics. But anyhow.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
As our friend Vagon likes to say, stay safe, and if you can't, be careful. Be sure to join us next Tuesday at 9:05 here on the old Superstation. for another episode of What's on Joe Mind. Stay tuned for another re-airing of the Blues Brothers. And until next Tuesday, yo, Joe. Great rest of the week.
Yo, Joe.